For indeed, as we discussed now, the issue of education and of governance and of bureaucracy with their trifold experience from the private sector, national, as well as the local era of governance. A public servant today must have the capability not only of a professional capable of serving the interests of the local government or his nation, but must have the capability to perform in the global stage competitively and to, by himself or with his organization, initiate cutting-edge developments in management and applications. Like, for instance, in the 1990s, we have the groundbreaking ideas on reinventing government. This had profound impacts on local government units since the 1990s, and many local governments improved their performance. And from this, we have now what we call as the LG assessment of performance of local government units. However, we also observe that we human beings are generational. So those who were taught in the 1990s, they're not around anymore. And so it is important then for education, like for Philippine Christian University, to carry the torch of these memories of excellence in governance and the experiences, and to accumulate these experiences and to compile them so that our graduate students will learn them, and all the important lessons will become part of the daily management policies, systems, and procedures that will always be in their mind. So these are important, the past and the present that we do, and the innovation that we make now. So again, without much ado, I congratulate each and every one of you for attending this very important affair, and to Dr. Matt Makalaging for his leadership, and may God bless us all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, President. I think truly, there's correlation with the past, the present, and the future. So we will take note on that, and I definitely insights will be huge enough, for this afternoon's three gentlemen's conversation. Thank you so much, President. May I call on VP Margie de la Cruz, our very active, very dynamic, I think our inspiration for PCU TINEP. Good afternoon, VP Margie.
Okay, good afternoon. Allow me to greet you all a warm Christian greeting of peace and a wonderful afternoon as well. In behalf of the Philippine Christian University, we would like to congratulate the Collab headed by Dr. Montoya for making it to the top scientist and researcher in the world. Nakasulat na po yan sa history ng mundo. Congratulations, especially to Doc Matt. It is indeed a great pleasure and an exciting privilege for me to officially open this webinar entitled Integrating Theory and Practice. Through the initiatives of Collab Group under Dr. Montoya with Philippine Christian University TINEP team and the Graduate School of Business and Management. We are very grateful to the administration of PCU led by our ever-dynamic and vivacious President, Dr. Junifen Gawan, by our ever-dynamic for the tremendous support he has provided to our institution, and to the organizing committee for this webinar, who continuously have put together an engaging program like this for the benefit of our graduate students. We are fortunate to have the opportunity of a great team of resource speakers whom we will get to meet later on. As our president introduced them to you. The speakers in the program are uniquely placed to elaborate on this and highlight the key themes, trends, and current issues for the graduate students. Especially interesting will be to learn the new priorities and developments in leadership and managing organization, most particularly in the time of pandemic and the future of post-pandemic for the people, process, system, and environment. We are quite privileged to have the presence of three prominent public figures gracing the occasion and will be sharing their views on our theme in today's webinar. Their bastion of knowledge and wisdom in the field of leadership and management will be a beacon of hope and guiding light as we transverse to the current dark situation and the road beyond these turbulent times. So without any much further ado, as the Vice President of Globalization and Extension Program team, let me end this remark with a big appreciation and gratitude to all of you who are participating in this webinar. Thank you and God bless us all.
Thank you so much, BP Margie, for your message. President, thank you so much. I always say we owe you our activity, no, because of your undying support, no, and also your appreciation to what we are doing. Now, these three gentlemen that we have right now this afternoon, I am most privileged, no, to have them, no, in an informal conversation and acquaintances. So we are eager to present them this afternoon. So let's start first with my SEVP, Jose S. Montoya. He is the Chief Management Officer of the CAP family. Every time I visit his office, it will always be a 3-unit course when I go out. New learnings, new jargons, to be inspired, and definitely this afternoon, he will be sharing new insights for us on managing organization. With virtual applause, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome SEVP Jose Joe S. Montoya. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Maraming salamat po. Magandang hapon sa inyo lahat. Napapansin ko, especially magandang hapon, greetings to the officers of PCU and all participants. Tinitingnan ko mga mukha nyo, lahat po kayo ay mga bata pa. You have a long year to go in pursuing your success journey. Ako naman po ay nasa pre-departure area na. I am 80 years old. So if you compare ourselves, talagang malayo-malayo po ang lalakarin nyo. Ako'y nasa pre-departure area na. Okay? I would also say na at my age, I was computing kailan ako naging manager. But kailangan ko po ng calculator. 58 years old pala ako. Na-expose sa manager and management. Okay? But still, palagi po tayo nagtatrabaho pa rin. So far, I will approve yung aking retirement. Okay? I don't want also to terminate my employers. Okay? Ang hinahawakan ko are one, principally, alam ni Doc Matt, I am in charge overseeing a lending company, a non-life insurance company, a management consultation firm, a broadcasting company, and a security agency operations. But among these 5 companies that I'm involved in, the most dynamic and challenging company, which I love so much, okay, is CAP College Foundation. It is the vehicle that will help me in fulfilling my advocacy. And my advocacy is poverty alleviation through college education. Repeat, poverty alleviation through college education. Ba't ko po naisip yun? No? Na pupunta ko at times, Singapore, abroad, pinag-aaralan ko karamihan mga bayan ay umaasenso because of their strong middle class. Their strong middle class. Sabi ko, paano kaya ang gagawin mo, Montoya? Hindi ka naman kasing yaman nito mga bilyonaryong ito. How can you go into philanthropy? Sabi ko, hindi. Mag-iimbento tayo and offer the concept of distance education. Kaya po ngayon, pagbayaan niyo ako, let me share with you briefly the what, the how, and the how and when we promote and manage CAP College so that we can appreciate and understand how we effectively manage it. Okay? Ito na. Yan po, ang pangalan po niya amin is Correspondence. Tandaan nyo, Correspondence Accreditation Program for College. Okay? Ang ibig is, ito pong Correspondence Accreditation Program for College, which is acronym CAP, is distinct and separate from College Assurance Plan Philippines, which is a pre-need company and which is now under rehabilitation. Let me begin po. That is why. It is a non-stock, non-profit organization. It is an educational foundation. It has something to do with delivery of education. Ito po mga credentials namin. Basically, we are recognized by CHED. We are also accredited with the technical education skills, which is step down. Ano po kaya ang distance education? Ito po, titingnan nyo, no? Ano po ang distance education? Distance education, makikita po niya, refers to a mode of learning in which students and teachers are physically separated from each other. It is student-centered, guided independent study, making use of well-studied teaching and learning pedagogies to deliver well-designed learning materials through various media. It is also sometimes described as a flexible. Okay. What is our vision? Ito po, our vision, the development of a culture of achievement among Filipinos as the primary ingredient in nation building through the pursuit of long learning. Ito naman po ang mission. Kita nyo na lang sa para di tayo mahirapan, democratization of higher opportunities through digitalized education, distance education. At ang ating pong objective ay mga yan, provide opportunities for higher education to persons who cannot go to formal or conventional schools on account of time, distance, and finances. The keywords here are persons who cannot go to formal or conventional schools. Okay. Another objective is to develop new non-traditional undergraduate and graduate programs to meet specific needs of government and industry, and finally to contribute to the continuous development of distance education in the Philippines. Ano po ang environment namin? Just to rationalize. Ito po, magmula po gumawa ng study dito and we read it. Magmula po ng year 2000 up to 2010, ito ang discover namin sa ating environment. Ito po, okay. 70% po. 70%, let me repeat. Sa mga tao na high school graduates are not able to start or finish college education. Ano pong ibig sabihin? Ang ibig po sabihin, bawat 10 na high school graduate, kawawa naman, 3 ang magpapatuloy, 7 ang either makakapagpatuloy o hindi makakatuntong sa college. Okay? That is basically the rationale or the why and wherefore bakit kami pumasok dito sa distance education. Ano po ang mga common reasons na nakita ng Department of Education? Ito po, report ng Department of Education. Ito po ang common reasons na sinasabi. Personal. Number 1, okay? Nakapag-asawa, marriage, at karamihan po dito, no offense intended, 65% karamihan mga babae. Nag-aaral, first year, second year, nag-asawa, ipapatigil na ng magulang. Ay, wag na, nag-asawa ka pala, pinatigil ka na. Okay? O naman yung iba naman, wala na talagang lack of interest. Yung iba naman, ay, nasa bahay na lang ako. Hindi na ako pwedeng lumabas. Marami akong ginagawa. At pang-apat, matanda na rin ako. Nakakayang mag-aral. Paano ako papasok sa eskwelahan? 50, 65 years old. Ang classmate ko, mga 18, 20. Yan po ang isang personal reason. Okay? Another reason is economic. Ito po yan. Ang mga income ng pamilya, sabi niya, tama-tama lang sa pagkain, basic food, clothing, and shelter. Paano ka papag-aralin ng eskwelahan? Tama-tama lang itong kinikita natin. Mataas ang high cost of education sa traditional schools before, many years ago, nagkakaroon po ng increases na magkakaroon ng public hearing, karamihan on the standard of 10% halos every year. No? Nung po na-deregulate, there are some exclusive schools that increase their tuition from 200, even 300%. Paano po ngayon makakapag-aral yung isang taong traditional schools na tuloy-tuloy nang tumataas ang cost of education? Pangatlo po, hindi napapasok para makapag-aral ng kolehiyo dahil nagtatrabaho ng araw at kung may panggabi, hirap na po at laspag na ang katawan niya. He is already physically and mentally stressed. Never mind my college graduate. Importante sa akin itong employment. Hindi ako pwede dito. Sobrang naman 8 hours ako, mag-aaral pa ako ng another 4 hours o 3 hours, hindi ko na kaya. Yan po ang mga economic reasons. Ito po ang panghuli, other reasons. Ay, ang layo ko dito sa distance education. Paano naman ako mag-aaral? Nasa Antipolo ako. Nasa Pinilya ako. Malayo po. O kaya, nasa Hong Kong ako. Ay, akong tanggapin nun. O paano kung nasa Norway ako? Nasa China ako. Okay? At pangalawa po, illness and disability. Because of physical disability, ay hindi na po nakakapag-aral. Yun po ang common reasons, personal, economic, and others. Paano po natin masosolve yan? Sabi po namin, may halo ng advertisement. Ang solution dito is CAP College Ideals. Ano yung ideals? It is individual, distance, education, alternative learning system. Ano po yun? Ito yung ideas where you can study anywhere, in your home, place of work, in your own time, at your own speed or pace, and your affordable fees, payable upon your convenience. Ano pa po? Paano po possible ito? Yung isang estudyante ay pwedeng kumuha na parang installment. Unlike po sa traditional schools during semester, di po ba magbabayad na ng buong miscellaneous and tuition fees for the entire semester? Sa amin pwede po hulog-hulugan. Okay? Dahil pwede kang maghulog, one subject at a time, composed of 3 units, and upon accomplishment, natapos na yung one subject, you can take another subject. Magbabayad ka naman. Okay? By installment po, installment ng subject, installment din ang bayad. Okay? Another is that yung pong comprehensive fee na 3,000 ay hindi po tuition yan. Yan po ay bayad ng school fees, tuition fees, miscellaneous fees, books, modules, meaning lahat ng academic expenses related to that subject kasama na sa 3,000, sa 3,000. When I say all academic expenses related to that particular subject kasama na doon sa 3,000. Paano pa? Ito, open enrollment. Open calendar system kami. Allows you to study anytime. Gusto mo mag-enroll? Na-allow na ng madaling araw. Sabi nga ng Bisaya, pwede. Gusto mo All Saints Day? Pwede. Gusto mo Christmas? Pwede. Gusto mo midnight? Bakit? You can access at mag-apply ka through the internet because it is an open calendar system. Number 2, ay wala pong klase. Walang classroom, walang campus. So, you can study at home, in the office, or wherever you are. Pangalawa, kaya po mura, kaya hindi masyadong magastos, hindi kailangan ang transportation, expense, wala yung transportation, allowance, board and lodging, uniform. Kaya ito, pabiro kay Dr. Matt. O pati kay Dr. Matt, gusto niya mag-aral dito, ayaw na ng uniform eh. Kahit ho naka-underwear, pwedeng mag-aral dito eh. Ano pa ho? Wala pong age limit. Kahit na si Montoya pwedeng magka-kolehiyo dito. In fact, we had a graduate, si Mrs. Cosico of Cebu. He graduated po at the age of 73, 75, if I recall. Okay. Ito po, kabisado po ng PCU ito. Ito po regularly, nagkakaroon po ng evaluation ang CHED. Okay? Ang evaluation na kino-cover po dyan ay mga example, maliit po. Nakikita po yung column, I think, periodic evaluation ng CHED in the following areas. Institutional management and commitment. Number 2, curriculum and delivery system. Number 3, institutional materials and development. Delivery mode and strategies. Then student support and services. Tinignan po nung matapos yan, yung po sa ibaba makikita nyo, yung pong mga technical panel representative, yung pong technical panel are independent. They are PhD holders. Yun naman po nasa gitna at bandang kanan, these are members of the panel of CHED representatives. Together, yung pong isa, yung dati naming din, ewan ko kung anong pangalan, doon sa school administrator, yung po ang representative ng Cap College. Okay? Kung titingnan po nyo, CMO number 27, ano yun? Anong ibig sabihin nun? Memo Order 27, Series of 2009. Okay? Natanggap po dito, nakita ko nakalagay, highly complied. Congrats. May nagreklamo ako sa panel. Anong ibig niyo sabihin? Ngayon na ako nakakita ng grading na complied. Okay? Na congratulations. Ito po sinagot sa amin. Okay, ito po, papakita ko. Sumulat po sila in January, address to our chairman, Angel Alcala. Sa summarize po, sinasabi lang, nasulat na mahaba yan, yung last paragraph, sinasabi, our technical panel considering that you are able to attain 100% compliance. Okay? Kaya po namin pinapakita yan dahil kuminsan ang perception about distance education, akala po nila walang ang quality ng delivery system. Yun ang kino-question na perception. Kaya pinapakita namin, ito po ang instrument, ito po ang pruweba na kami ay one of the colleges na binigyan ng 100% na compliance doon sa requirement. Okay? Ito po ngayon, maganda ito, bibilis. Noong pong COVID, ang ginagawa namin sa marketing, face-to-face, may mga parang student counselor, equivalent of representatives, bigla po nagkaroon ng COVID. Nung COVID, sabi ko, ano bang mangyayari dito? Nawala, wala nang pumapasok, wala nang nag-aaral, wala nang kwan, okay? So, my daughter is very familiar with digital ad. Okay? Sabi ko, ano ba kanyang trabaho mo? Daddy, pinakita ko. Parang ito. Kanya maganda yan eh. Sabi ko, how do we reach out to our prospective student na nakakulong na tayo sa COVID, pati ang aking mga tauhan? Sabi niya, gagawa ko, Daddy, ng advertising and promotions mong vehicle are digital ads. Digital ads. Ito po mga digital ads nila. Bago po mangyari yun, ito po. Napakakuha pala. Ito po ang ino-offer. Okay? Nag-jump lang po. Ito po ang ino-offer. College of Liberal Arts. Okay. Yan naman po ang sa College of Business Administration. Yan po mga major subject. Okay. At eto naman po, ang mga nag-enroll globally. The word is globally. Masyado pong maliliit. Let me just summarize. Sa North America po, there are about 49, Europe 66, Africa 18, pinakamalakas Middle East 2,160, Philippines 15,000, meaning domestic, other Asian countries 267, Oceania 4. 18,032 ang enrolled globally. Pero take note, bakit ang laki-laki ng Middle East? More than 2,386. Karamihan po doon. Dito yung mga Pilipino, overseas Filipino worker, may mga domestic helper, kung ano ang mga profile nila. Okay? At ito naman po rin, ang nag-graduate naman, 2009-08. Throughout the world din po yan. Ano yung gumagano? Ito po, bibigyan ko kayo ng idea. Yung mga natapos, we have more than 500. More than, I think, 2,000 database ng aming mga nag-graduate. Nandun ng mga litrato, saan sila ngayon, at ipapakita namin sa inyo. No? Ito po yung mga nag-graduate, almost 3,000. Bibigyan ko lang kayo ng mga, a few of them. One of them, ito, na palagi naka-picture sa akin ito. Si Samantha Jane Telapacion Nuki. Ang mother is from Iloilo. Ang kanyang tatay is Australian. Tinapos pa nyo. Within a period of 1 year, tinapos po niya ang entrepreneur. BSBA Major Entrepreneur. Bakit po? Graduate na po ng aviation. Maraming subject like mathematics, English, credited na. But she's the one and only na magna cum laude na tinapos within the period of 1 year. Ano pong ibig sabihin? Mabilis po siyang mag-aral, kaya mabilis din siyang nag-graduate at tatapos. Ito rin po yung iba. Isa-isahin ko po, magtaas kayo ng kamay kung may kamag-anak kayo, dahil bibilisan ko. Ito, mga serving in government, ay, kilala nyo ito. Si naging vice governor, singer, artista, dingdong, abensado. Product po namin yan. Ito naman, kumandidato po, pasado pa rin ngayon, number 1 councilor, si Lenny Aldabe. Ito po, yung pumasa sa psychometrics, na graduate din namin. Ito po, ipipicture namin. Meron kami mga graduate who are national and international awardees. Ito po, ang una. Ito ay sundalo. Enrolled po dito sa amin, Master Sergeant, proclaimed as outstanding Filipino soldiers. Ito rin po yung mga national awardee, nag-negosyo. Nandiyan sila. Ito po naman, international awardee sa web design. Okay. Ito naman po, nakita ko doon sa opisina nung una. Sino yung mamang babaeng nakadapa? Sir, naka-enroll sa atin yan, disabled yan, kumukuha ng examination. Yun po yan, Meron din po, ito, importante. When they ask me about the quality, tinatanong ko po sa training, sino ang kauna-unahang Pilipino, pipit bingi na nagtatrabaho sa Supreme Court? Pipit bingi po. Yan ay si Arthur Principe. Yan si Arthur Principe po, nasa top 5 po sila sa listing na pumasa sa personnel na Supreme Court. Nakita po ni Justice Puno, bakit may X yan? Samantalang number 1 yan. Gusto kong makausap. Sabi po naku, nagkamali po kami ng Justice. Bakit? Bingi ho Bingi ba? Ay lalong magaling yan. Hindi niya marinig ang debate dito ng mga tao. Meron pa ho problema. Anong problema pa? Naku, PP ho. Ay napakagaling. Hindi maging maingay yan. You hire him. O yun. Kaya po na-picture namin yan. Puno approves hiring and depute by Supreme Court. Okay? Kami po, product na naman yan. Kauna-unahang Pilipino. Nag-research ako na pipit bingi na nagtatrabaho sa Supreme Court. Okay? Ito pa po. Ito. Magustuhan siguro ni Doc Mato yung iba. ito po ay mga prospective student o mga estudyante na may pera may pera, may kotse, may pera, pero because of the nature of their business, artista, meron TV, hindi siya makapag-adjust sa schedule. O nag-enroll po sila sa Cap College. O yan po, kilala siguro ni Carmi Martin, Vilna Morales, yan po mga iba-ibang mga artista. Ito po, nag-graduate, disabled, nakalimutan ko na po mga pangalan nito, mga namit ni Dr. Matt ito during graduation, iba-iba. Ito. Pinagmamalaki naman namin. Ito po ay nag-graduate na ngayon ng AB History. Ang pangalan niya, Sabrina Maxino. Naging star po siya sa GMA7 na pelikulang Maalala Mo Kaya? Okay? Siya po ay may Down syndrome at may depresya pa. Nag-graduate ng valedictorian. Dito po makikita nyo, lahat po ng mga disabled ay nagkaroon po ng mga meeting, Asia Pacific region, ang tawag nila Olympics. Siya po ay nagka-chairman sa Philippines as the Olympic Global Youth Ambassador. Tinap po niya lahat ng mga examination. Okay? At pagkatapos po, yun lahat ng mga estudyante per country, the head na naglilid ay Sabrina Maxino, nag-iba po ng tender po ng testimonial cocktail at dinner no less than sa White House ni Barack Obama. Yan po, si Barack Obama, kino-congratulate yung aming graduate o estudyante. Again, sinasabi namin, meron ba kayo na estudyante na binigyan ng karangal sa White House at kausap pa si Barack Obama? Sabi niya, wala sir. Ikaw ba, nagbigay ka rin sa Barack Obama? Hindi pa. Hindi mangyayari yun. Okay? Ito rin po. Ito naman po, ang partnership namin ay handle institutional accounts. Yan po ang mga kasama po namin sa partner. Ang katawag po namin yan, educational partner, Infotech Institute, Don Bosco na about IAS, yung pong tawag dyan about yung parang vocational sa hardware at saka sa computer, Immaculate Conception School, St. Justine College of Asia, at ang pinakamalaki ay yan po. Yan ang marketing arm namin sa Middle East. Kaya napakarami po doon mga estudyante natin. Ang pangalan po niyan is International Institute of Computer Science and Administration based in Kuwait. Meron din po silang branch sa Dubai, meron siya sa Muabula, meron siyang sa Saudi Arabia. No? Ito po about, before I close about this portion ng Cap College Foundation, ito po yung aming mga officers and board of directors. Ito, kilala po niyo siguro. Ang chairman po, president namin, si Dr. Angel Alcala. Yan po, dati pong taga-Silaman. Yan po ang kanyang mga credentials. Okay? Bibilisan po natin. Yan po, to summarize. Chairman, National Scientist, tapos former Chairman, Commission on Higher Education. At the time of Cory, nung pinaghiwalay yung Department of Education and Culture, ginawa yung CHED, ginawa yung siyang kauna-unahan po chairman doon. Siya rin po naging DNR Secretary, I think at the time of FBR. Siya po Chief Scientist for Maritime, yan po ang lahat ng credentials niya. Awardee pa ng Ramon Magsaysay. At ito po yung iba-iba na natanggap niya. At ito po para madali. Ito po members of the board namin, puro po sikat yan. Di na ipapakilala ang hindi lang pinakasikat yan, yung Montoya. Kalimutan nyo na yan. Kilala nyo si Braid, which PhD kasama namin sa board. Marieta Premicius Goco kasama namin sa board, naging Dean of Studies ng Assumption. Gillian Akiko, dati po Thompson, yan po ang champion sa Asian Olympics sa swimming. Melanie is the daughter of Tintin Durumal na dating chairman at saka teacher din sa arts and theater. Espaldon Ernesto is a senator of Guam. Bobby is yan po ang may hawak na mga administration ng ibang subsidiaries of CAP. And of course, yung pinakamatanda, isa sa pinakamatanda, Jose Montoya. Okay. Yung kasunod na part 2. Part 2, ah. Okay. Hindi. I am still audible, hindi na. Narinig po nila at nakikita nyo?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Ito po, tutuloy na tayo para ma-appreciate how we manage, what are the processes, what are the systems. Sisimulan ko po itong CAP College Organization Structure. Yan po ang composition niya na component. Bibilisan po natin. Yan po. Ako po dito, concurrently, I'm also the Chief Marketing Officer. Under me are deputies. Ito po ay mga head na region. Yung marketing coordinators po naman, they are the head of areas assigned to them. Yung pong student counselor, yung po ang foot soldier, nag-enroll ng mga estudyante. Okay? Yan naman pong Dean of Studies, ang head po dito, hindi naalagay, si Dr. Makalaging. Siya po ang head niyon. May mga faculty members, module writers, tutors, evaluation, yung po ang administration, yung po ang finance. Alam natin po lahat yung ganyan, karamihan, merong structure in an organization. Okay? But ito po, I am emphasizing, I am the overall head and the chairman who oversee the operations of this department. And I always, in our meeting, always emphasize the following. Kahit na nandiyan kayo, matataas ang inyong mga rangko, avoid bureaucracy, avoid red tape. Avoid red tape. No, wala na, anak ko. Okay? Ginagalaw mo. We believe in the speed of trust. Ano yun? Nagtitiwala tayo sa isa't isa dahil we speed of trust. Mabilis tayong kumilos dahil sabi ko sa'yo, huwag niyong gagalaw.
Excuse ka muna.
Yeah, no problem, Tin.
Ayan,
Yes,
Doc,
and Tin will be sharing the screen so we can see your presentation. We would like to acknowledge also our resource speakers already here. Usec Randy, good afternoon. Maraming salamat po. Yeah.
Magandang hapon po.
Good afternoon po. And I think shortly BF will also be joining. As we progress with our conversation, we would like to invite our participants that you can always write in your questions, observations, comments in our chat box so we can acknowledge them in our open conversation.
Hello, Doc Matt.
Yes, good afternoon. Yes, Dean.
Nakikita nyo na po?
Wala.
Not yet, not yet. Click on, again, share screen.
Ayan, Doc. Share screen. Can you see it na, Doc?
Not yet.
Tuloy-tuloy na yun.
Maybe you, yeah, okay. It's coming, yeah. Yeah, you can open now the PowerPoint. We can see your, okay,
How about that? How
yes,
about this one?
that's it,
Okay.
perfectly. Thank you.
Okay, Doc. Ayan, Doc.
Yes, perfect.
Okay ka na?
Yes.
You can continue, DSM.
Taga naman ang dati.
Ginanda mo. Oh, yan na. Okay. Okay, dito po tayo naiwan.
Yes po.
Okay. Ang sinasabi ko po, we emphasize, and I think alam din ni Doc Matt, the managers and heads dahil can decide on their own because they can be trusted. Sabi ko, I trust everybody dahil you are officers and managers until you prove otherwise. So wala po maraming usapan na dialogue o conflict. We also discuss and resolve critical issues immediately. In doing tasks, they know, and we emphasize the what, the why, the how, the when, and what will be the results. The plan of action must have ito, 3 P's of implementing a task. Ito po yung 3 P's magkakasama. Efficiency, economy, and effectiveness. Magkasama po yan. Triumvirate yan. In every task that we do, be sure it must be efficient, it must be economical, it must be effective. Ito po ngayon ang number of college learning center. Ito po yung nasa probinsya. Okay? Region 1 po, meron kaming distance learning center. Ang Cap College sa Lawag, Tagupan, Urdaneta, San Fernando, La Union. Region 2, Tuguegarao. Region 3, Angeles City, Tarlac, Olongapo. Region 4, Carbonas, Imus, Lucena. Region 5, Bacolod, Rojas, Iloilo. 7, Region 7, Cebu, Dumaguete, Tagbilaran. Region 10, Butuan, Cagayan de Oro, Malaybalay, Valencia, Bukidnon. Region 11, Davao, Tagum, Mangagoy, which is a Bislig of Agusan del Sur. Region 12, General Santos, and at head office, isang branch sa Quezon City, Cubao, and at the head office. Okay. Ano po ang aming management approaches? Okay. Yung po management approaches namin ay it varies, okay? Bakit po? Depende sa situation, we adopt a particular theory and practice depending on situation. But basically, lahat po ng manager and officers ay kukuha ng project namin na ang tawag namin sa simpleng kwan, kayo ay supervisor, manager, officers, we will empower you. Empowering of people. Ano ang ating i-empower? Okay? We'll talk about KSH. Wag lang yung CAS na CASH sa atin. CAS. Knowledge, attitude, skills, and habits. Okay? At ito po ang, ito pong kwan, as a backgrounder, ito po ang aming ini-implement. Okay? Na operational approach. Gumagawa po kami periodically sa mga managers na what we call POLCAP seminar and workshop. Na ito ay makikita na may mali, hindi po Bible planning, it is the management Bible. Okay? It is our management Bible. POLCAP is our management Bible. And that pertains to planning, organizing, leading, controlling, application, and practice. Kaya tawag po namin yan ay POLCAP. Akala ng iba, College Assurance Plan, hindi. POLCAP. Planning, organizing, leading, controlling, and its application. And this is pattern from the Allen Management System. Pattern from the Allen Management System. Okay? Ano po ang particular or primary purpose? Bakit kami nagko-conduct nitong POLCAP o POLC? Ito po, number 1. Gusto namin magkaroon palagi ng consciousness. Ano bang papel ng isang empleyado? Whatever, whether you are an employee, staff, line, supervisor, assistant manager, head, ano bang papel mo dito sa kumpanya? Number 2, do you have a total appreciation and understanding of your duties and responsibilities? Number 3, hindi ka lang dito para dahil may sweldo ka. You must be achievement and results-oriented. Susunod, you must common vocabulary. Para magkaroon tayo ng common vocabulary in management terminologies. Para dito kumbaga sa kwan, pare-pareho tayo ng alam anong term nito, hindi yun pabago-bago. Everybody understand ano ang words and terminologies na nasa pagmamanage natin. Okay? At pang-apat ay we now have a common management style. Okay? Gagawa tayo ng common management style. Okay? Ano naman po ang systems approach namin sa marketing? Haluan natin ng konti. Ito pong manager, napaiksi, manager sa organization, maliwanag po nakasulat sa kanyang letter agreement. Ang pangalan po, Jose Montoya, here is your letter agreement. Parang aside from it is may legalistic na letter agreement, it is also a psychological contract between the company and that one. Naka-pinpoint po doon in detail ano ang kanyang appointment, duties, and responsibilities. At kung marketing ka, okay, ano ang kailangan mong manpower and production parameters na standard? Anong manpower ang ibig sabihin, okay? Ang manpower po, maghahanap siya, magde-develop siya ng student counselor, yun ang mga local representatives, at yan ay maghahanap siya per month, per year. Anong kailangan dyan? Ito po, A typical example, yung pong terminology, MSC, ito po ay Marketing and Sales Coordinator. Ito ay naka-assign sa isang territory, city, municipality, or a district. Ang minimum requirement po sa kanya is to recruit and develop not less than 12 student counselor within a period of 1 year. When I say 12, yung pong nagpo-produce, nagiging productive, fully developed in a year. Okay? Ano po ang kanyang production parameter? Dapat po within a period of 1 year, nakapag-enroll siya ng 576, generating revenues of 1.7 million. Under the MSC, meron pong deputy marketing na region. Ang kailangan niya ay maghahanap naman ng mga manager, marketing and sales coordinator manager, maghahanap din siya ng not less than 12 in a year. Okay? At ang kanyang revenue quota requirement, 6,912 students, at kailangan may revenue siya na 20 million at the end of the year. Okay? Kung titanong po natin, you may ask me, Montoya, bakit 12-12? Okay? Bakit yung MSC maghanap na 12? Bakit ang deputy maghanap na 12? Why 12? Why not 14? Why not 10? Sabi ko, yun ang ginawa ni Jesucristo mga apostol, mga apostoles. Gumaya ko, magkaroon ka rin ng apostoles, Montoya, na 12 ganyan-ganyan. Okay? Para wala na pong usapan, bakit may 12? Okay? Ito po ang common na ginagawa nila. Okay? Ito po simpleng management information system nang gagaling sa mga marketing units. Ano? Based on yung action plan na ginawa po niya within the year, broken down per quarter, broken down per month, ilalagay po doon, ano bang business activity, marketing activity yung ginagawa mo? So isusulat po, ito po ang aming action plan, training, manpower development, scheduling, and budget. On that basis, bigyan namin ng budget yan. Okay? Ano naman ang pagbalik noon? Yan po ang sistema. Ano naman, after doing all those process na business and management and marketing activity, meron pong MCS system. Ano yon? Magbibigyan na po siya. Actual results. Yung ginawa niyang action plan, ano ba nangyari? Ilan ba na-recruit mo? Nakapag-recruit ka ba ng manpower? Ilan ba na-enroll? Ilan ba ang nagawa mo as against the objectives? Sila po mismo ang gumagawa ng performance evaluation nila quantitatively and qualitatively based on the standard set. Okay? Ano naman po ang ginagawa pa namin? A typical example is how do we motivate our people? We apply various motivational theories and approaches. As you know, based on, I think, the studies of Abraham Maslow, the studies of MacGregor, Frederick Hertzberg, Aldefer, McLellan, Lewin, and other motivational models. At dalawang klase na natutuhan natin na two types of motivational models, they call it extrinsic or external. Ito po, we provide sa mga managers namin office rental, office equipment, rental, supplies, related materials, flyers, print materials, digital ads, and of course wages. Meron pong minimum guaranteed allowances, and based on performance, we provide them monthly bonus, incentives, annual awards, membership of what you call Eagle Award, Millionaires Club, etc., etc. Yan po ang external or extrinsic motivational model na actually ini-implement namin. Ano naman yung internal o intrinsic? Ay simple lang po yan. Okay? Sinusulatan po namin by messenger formally, a letter of commendation, a letter of greeting. We develop their career path. O pwede ka na dito from the barangay, gusto mo umikat ka o humawak ka ng isang munisipyo o district. Yan po ang career path. And of course, the social status and sense of achievement. Dahil pinapalakpakan, may sulat. And ako natutuwa dahil even in the provinces, pupunta ako sa mga sala nila, yung sulat kong letter of commendation nakadikit po sa mga dingding at naka-frame. I feel so good. Ano? I feel so good. Okay. Ano pa po? Of course, we develop relationships. Ano ba ang relationship? About satisfaction and productivity. Ito po ang typical example naman. Anong IPO na synergy and training? Ito. As a background there, meron po mga ibang kumpanya that they have their own training department. May training officer, meron departamento. Yan trabaho lang or kuminsan, personnel. Ang amin hindi. We synergize training to the extent na gumawa kami ng academy na lahat ng pwede, especially sa mga rural areas, to the level of all marketing and sales coordinator, kailangan, in order to be a regular manager, you have to undergo accredited to become an accredited company trainer. Ito po, ipapakita ko nyo ang sample na kwan. Ito po yung academy namin because ito po mga kumukuha na subject to become a trainer or a trainee, they are subject to certain evaluation processes before they are appointed as accredited company trainer. Ito po yun. Gagawa tayo ng simple kwan. Ang input, a sales associate means basta't manager siya involved in marketing and sales. Yan ang input. Okay? Then, ito pupunta. Ito po ngayon ang dapat niyang matuto. Let me amplify. In the morning, meron pong BSS1 ang pangalan. BSS1 ang kanyang ang kanilang program. Sinasabi lang ng BSS1, ano ba yung CAP College? Ano bang mission, vision, objectives? Sino bang qualified dito? Okay, mga high school graduates, sir bang qualified? Ano bang dokumentong kailangan? Okay? That will last about 3 to 4 hours in the morning. In the afternoon, magko-conduct na naman ng tawag ng BSS2, Basic Sales Seminar 2. Ito na, paano mo pinopromote o binebenta to use for lack of terms, paano mo pinopromote ang CAP College? Okay? You go into prospecting. O ano yung prospecting mo? Be sure yung prospecting mo. Hindi basta-basta kinakausap mo. Bakit ano sabihin ng prospecting? Kung minsan may terminology sa marketing essays, i-qualify mo, baka yan suspect mo lang yan, hindi mo prospect. Ano yung suspect? Those who are willing to listen and those willing who need it and those who can decide. Yan po ang prospect, okay? Ano po ang kasama nun? In-explain po yung Cap College Distance Education as you present it. Briefly, ano bang benefits and features, okay? How do we interact with a prospective student? Meron po nakalagay dyan, AIDA. Para po pangalan ng babae, pero ang style po palagi na standard means AIDA. Ano po ang gagawin ng attention? Ano bang pinaka-importanting sentences o statement mo to get attention to sa subject na estudyante? Paano ba i-arouse yung kanyang interest? Ano bang gagawin mo para yung kanyang interest maging desire? Ano bang gagawin mo so that magkakaroon ng positive action on your presentation? Okay? Pagkatapos sasabihin mo yung cost. Ito yung halaga niya, comprehensive fee. Now, kung minsan may magtatanong, hindi naman palagi pag nagsalita agad na agreed Meron magtatanong, meron kami, may manual, 36 questions with 3 answers for every question. Ang tawag namin manual ng Q&A. Then may mga closing technique, paano mo i-close, and how do you document it. At magiging kang ACT 1. Okay? Pagdating naman, dati kang ACT 1, gusto mo maging accredited company trainer level 2, ito ang dadaan ka. Importante, bago ka makarating dito, ito ang gagawin mo. Okay? Magko-conduct ka, you will learn about PRTS, ano yun? Planning, Recruiting, Training, and Supervision, Seminar, meron kang workshop. Pag pumasa ka na naman dyan, you become an accredited company trainer level 2. Next. Mayroong lahat yan na IPO, mayroong mga lahat yan na system, yan ay we call that, of course, feedback. No? Itong output, okay na ba ito? Satisfactory ito? Is there something wrong? If something na-attain ang objective, walang problema. Kung hindi ma-attain ang objective, we review. Baka ang proseso, there is something wrong with the process o baka may pagkukulang sa proseso. Okay? Kung tama ang proseso, baka may problema yung input, baka for all you know, baka mali yung ating kausap. Marunong nga tayo pero mali ang ating pag-qualify. Ganun po yun. So, meron din pong palaging positive and negative feedback. Ito po, bibigay ko naman sa inyo ang IPO sa paghahanap ng isang estudyante or enrollee. Yan, okay? Input, makikita po nyo, ito ang profile ng prospect. Sino ka ba? Ikaw ba? Tapos ka na ng high school? Pag hindi po tapos ng high school, hindi prospect yun. Tatanong namin, anong profile mo? Saan ka nakatira? Ano bang income mo? Kanino bang pamilya mo? Okay. As soon as we prospect that, ito po ngayon ang proseso. Makikinig po ngayon, either ipapakita, kung may laptop, papakita po yung PowerPoint. Kung hindi, verbally, pinapakita niya on paper or print, pinapakita niya, ito tungkol sa aming company, ito ang aming produkto. Ito po yung earning a diploma, itong at your own self, at your own time, yung usual. Ito po yan, ang comprehensive fee, 3,000, walang pressure. Itong scheduling, blah, blah, blah. Pag pumayag po yan, na natapos yan, they become an enrollee. O nandun naman ang proseso. Okay? Meaning, naging estudyante na po. From an ordinary applicant, naging estudyante na. But itong ipapaliwanag sa kanya. Hindi basta-basta tanggapin ng estudyante, kailangan maintindihan niya lahat ito. Marami pong kasama dyan sa proseso. Ito naman, ang sample ko sa iyo, Juan, nung po nagkaroon ng COVID, halos paralyzed ang aming operation. So we thought of going into marketing online. Lahat, business is online, okay? At nung pong yung anak ko, he's a graphic artist at mahusay. Daddy, ano bang pinagagawa mo? Kinuwento ko po about ang Cap College. Sabi ko, paano natin, how can we reach out to the prospect. Ito po mga ginawa niya. Marami pong ginawa, mga sample lang. Ito po. Yan po. Ang una pong ginawa, stay home, stay safe, stay educated. Okay? Sumunod po yung stay in your own time anywhere. Puro po mga teaser. Ano ang mga yan? Okay? Then lumabas na po. Okay? I could not attend school. Ito naman, goal learning. Nandun na naman po. Ang Cap College naman. Meron din po. Cap College online. Nandun po mga curriculum. Iba-iba po yan, okay? Puro po yan digital ad. Lumalabas sa wall ng mga Facebook na mga network nila. Ito po rin po, another digital ad. Digital ad na to address yung mga freshmen. Digital ad, I think, for mga transferee. Okay. Digital ad na mga nagtatrabaho na pero gusto mag-aral. Yan po. Meron din po mga, finally, ito naman po, digital ad ng isang matanda na pero nag-aaral pa rin. At ang panghuli po, palabi namin kino-close yan po ang isang huling digital ad na lumalabas. Okay? So yan po ang ginagawa na instead na hindi makapag face-to-face, even now, yan po using social media, the Facebook, yan po ang kailang ginagawang basic vehicle. Okay? At ang panghuli po, ito yung print, binibigay sa mga barbershop o saan siya makakapunta, iniiwanan po yan. Ito po ay flyer na papel ito na pinamimigay. Ito po another, baka magtampo yung academic affairs. Ito po ang pag-design naman ng academic affairs, okay? Ano pong input? Pag-aaralan po ngayon, ano po ba ang pagdagdag natin ng kurso? Meron po kami regular na faculty, puro may PhD. Meron pong part-time faculty, puro din may PhD. Mag-design nga kayo ng mga module na updated. Okay? Ito po ngayon ang gagawin nila. Ini-evaluate din internally yung course content. Okay? Tinitignan. Evaluation ng content ng module. Pagkatapos po, kukunin yan upon approval, may approval at may go signal and shared, gagawa po ngayon ng module. Okay? Yan naman po sa kaliwa, balik na naman tayo, pinagsama ko lang. Anong ginagawa naman sa isang estudyante na kumuha ng test, anong mangyayari? Meron naman pong process na naman. Gagawin ko yung module test, gagawin ko module exam, pupunta po yung aking mga papel at examination, either online or other vehicle. Titingnan po, meron pong checker, tinitingnan ng checking on exam, yung merong given doon, especially yung true and false, multiple choices. Pero yung mga question na sinasagot ng essay ay pupunta na po yan sa specialist na mentor and tutor. Okay. At kung pasado, ito po yun, magiging final na po at yan na naman ang kanyang final grade. Okay. Ito po ang other training seminars na ginagawa namin. Okay. Ito, kabisado nyo lahat. Pero ang approach namin dito, SWOT analysis, ginagawa namin yan sa mga manager palaging at least every month. Okay? Every month, tinitingnan namin, together with them, ano SWOT analysis? Meron bang pagbabago? Yung bang weaknesses, naragdagan o na-reduce nyo? Yung bang ang threat nyo, naragdagan o na-reduce? Ano bang opportunities? So palagi namin ini-evaluate together with the managers, ano na ang status mo based on your SWOT analysis. And based on the findings of the SWOT analysis, what are the remedial measures para ma-eliminate mo yung mga weaknesses at threats natin? That is all it, Juan. Kaya po yun, nagkakaroon po ng pinofocus namin, meron po talagang workshop, hinihingan namin na meron silang binibigay na manual, ang tawag namin personal development workshop. Nandun po yung fill in the blanks, anong strength niya, anong weaknesses niya, anong opportunities nakikita niya, anong mga threat. Then nagkakaroon kami ng periodic review, then evaluate the results. Another one namin is what you call DOM. DOM. Okay? Ito pong DOM naman ito are Diagnose, Observe, Methods, Evaluation, Analysis. Ginagawa po ito, halimbawa, merong gustong pumasok as accredited company trainer. After po yung seminar and workshop, meron kaming panel o representative, ino-observe paano ba siya nagte-train, paano ba nagtuturo, pati yung kanyang mannerism, pati yung kanyang kwan. Walang ginagawa yung taong yon, kundi nagkakaroon ng checklist, ano bang strong points niya sa pagtuturo, ano bang weaknesses sa pagtuturo. Then they discuss them all together. Ito solution, bata, ito mga problema mo, here is how to improve all this. Okay? Ang tawag po dyan, DOM. Ginagawa po yan regularly, almost I think 4 times every year, every 3 months yun. Meron pa po ay karamihan sa diagnose. Ang ginagawa po doon, ang input lang palagi doon, nagkaroon ng deficiency analysis. Kung minsan sasabihin, bakit puro deficiency analysis ka? Ay, yung efficiency, hindi namin na-analyze yung congratulations. We are looking for deficiency in order to improve your training methods. Then, eron po, huwag kalimutan, emphasize ko, yung UA. Pagkatapos pong pinaliwanag, do you understand what are the deficiencies, anong problem? Okay, tinatanggap mo naman ang solution na gagawin natin. The answer is yes. Kung minsan po kasi mangyayari, accept lang ng accept, pero they don't understand. Meron naman, they understand, but they don't want to accept. Kaya meron po kaming concept, meron na ba tayong UA? Ano yung UA? Meron na ba tayong understanding and acceptance and what we have discussed and what we are to do? Ito po na naman, naku, halos alam niyo lahat ito. Ginagawa rin po sa amin regularly, okay? Ito'y ginagawa rin, ha? Every month, weekly, and at times even daily. We use the Eisenhower matrix. Marami pong management gurus, si Stephen Covey, ginagamit niya yun, yung mga mga diagram niya, mga lugar. But Eisenhower, it might interest you to know, but si Eisenhower matrix. Ito po si Eisenhower, si General Dwight Eisenhower, yung Supreme Commander sa World War II. Gumawa po sila, ginather niya lahat ng consultant, mga general, let's come out and design ang gagawin natin preparatory to the invasion of Normandy, which Operation Market Garden. At ito po ang basic content nun na pinulot at ginagawa ng mga manager and executives. Yan po, alam niyo sigurado ito. Yun. Kung wala po ako ng explanation, ano po yung urgent and important, nakalagay po dyan, crisis, fighting, ito po, important, not urgent. Ito po, urgent, not important, not important, not urgent. Alam po niyo lahat yan. Any na naman, okay? Bibilisan po dahil sabi ng anak ko, you have only 5 minutes. Ito po, when we go into goal setting, palagi tatanungin naman, ano bang vision? Ano bang values mo? Ano bang vision mo sa buhay? O ano bang key results na gagawin mo? Ano bang smart objective na gagawin mo? Ano bang gagawin mo daily, which is your to-do list? Okay? Then meron din po kaming how to conduct meetings para kaming mga congressman, senator. We follow parliamentary procedures. Then meron din po kaming periodic task meeting. Ito po ang task meeting I'll share with you. Lahat po na presentation o kaya kulay ng mga report, madali, specific. Ito lang po, color code. Pag blue flag, kung nagtagumpay ka, ang pangalan na report mo, blue flag. Okay? Kung meron kang problema, ang lahat ng problema mo, red flag. Green flag, yung mga project, yung process na gagawin mo. Yellow flag, yung take caution bago mo implement. Yan po, red flag, blue flag, okay? Meron din po kami seminar and workshop in time management. I'll share with you yung pag-handle at flow of document. Ito po yun, traffic. A, action. F, forward document. File, secure document. Infrastructure. Custodian, sino in charge. Meron din pong ganon. Cost-benefit analysis, ginagawa namin. Meron din kami lecture. At palagi in lecture, in-emphasize namin poverty alleviation through college education. Meron din po kami, palagi nagme-meeting. Remember, Japanese term, Kaizen. philosophy of continuous search for improvement. Palagi tayo naghahanap. How can we do better? How can we do better? How can we do better? Okay? At ito po, culture and tradition. Lahat po ng ginagawa namin, beginning, ending, kagaya ng PCU, may prayer. Meron din kaming mga prayer na naka-address. Ano? How to pray to eliminate procrastination, how to pray to implement plans, how to overcome difficulties. At ito po, last September 30, that's our third quarter nag-meeting na mahaba-haba. At sabi namin, para tayo uusenso, lumabas tayo sa ating comfort zone. At ito po ang aming closing prayer na matutuwa kayo at magugustuhan nyo. Ito po yun. Yun po ha. Kung natapos na kayo, bibilisan natin. 3 minutes na lang ako. Okay? Yan po ang typical prayer namin at the end of a seminar or meeting. At ito pa po, dagdagan natin. Okay? Alam po nyo, may mga dasal din kami, kabisado ni Juan. Ano po itong mga dasal na ito? Bibilisan natin, ha? Ito po yung mga kantang in-institutionalize namin malibas sa mga prayer, okay? Ito po, institutionalize namin as part and parcel of our culture and tradition. Ang isa po ay together ang tawag, it is our song of aspiration na ang pangalan, God Bless the Filipino. Ito po yung content nyo, lyrics. Okay? Meron din po kaming another kuan, ha? Ang kuan namin dito ay panlaban sa faith namin. Pag nawawala ang tiwala sa sarili, nawawala ang tiwala sa Diyos, ito po. Ito po ang content niyan. Para po malaman nyo, itong Faith in the Filipino was composed by the late Senator Raul Manglapos. Si Senator Raul Manglapos. At nagkaroon kami ng Anvil Award for that. Palagi pong kinakanta yan. At ito pa, paday ko, si Dr. Matt, hindi rin niya alam eh. May kinakanta rin kami, this is the prayer of patriotism. Lahat po ng mail niya siguro hindi na alam. Alam po ba niyo itong Heaven Watch the Philippines? Ito po ay ginawa ni Irving Berlin in 1946. Okay? Kasama po niya si MacArthur. Pag-visit sa Manila, everything's devastated. Pero nakita niya ang resiliency ng mga Pilipino. Ano ginagawa ng mga Pilipino? Nakita siya, Victory Joe, ginagawa. He was so touched and he cried. At nagkaroon siya ng idea na sumulat para sa mga Pilipino. Ang pangalan, Heaven Watch the Philippines. Ito po ang content na naman niya. Ako po magmula nung grade 1 hanggang grade 6 kinakanta. Ngayon, di mo na marinig yan. Si Irving Berlin din in 1918, siya po ang gumawa ng God Bless America. Magmula ng 1918 hanggang ngayon, kinakanta ng God Bless in America. Itong Heaven Watch the Philippines, never na narinig ko na magmula na ako natapos ng high school. Okay? At panghuli po, okay? Ito naman po ang anthem namin at kinukumbida ko kayo. At ito, this time, kakantahin ko at kakantahin nyo to end my participation. Ito po.
Doc Matt, baka hindi na-share yung sound nung present.
Marami po salamat at nag-invest kayo, namuhunan kayo ng pagod at oras sa akin. Sana po ay magkakaroon ng bunga ang ating napag-usapan. Salamat po.
Thank you. Thank you so much, SVP. Maraming salamat po. Kaizen. Continuous improvement, search for improvement. So we would like to thank our first resource speaker, SVP S. Montoya. Humbly, please acknowledge our sincerest thanks and appreciation for your time this afternoon. Let me present the Certificate of Appreciation. Philippine Christian University Certificate of Appreciation is awarded to SEVP Jose S. Montoya for his invaluable insights as resource speaker during the discourse session on managing organization, people, process, system, and environment, a webinar for graduate studies, given this 5th day of November 2022 through Zoom Meet, Manila, Philippines. Thank you for heeding the call to the PCU core values of faith, character, and service. Signed, President Juniper F. Gawan.
Salamat.
A virtual applause, please, to our resource speaker, SVP Jose S. Montoya. Maraming salamat po, JSM. Thank you so much. At this time, again, we would like to welcome you. Please reserve all your questions, queries, and comments on our first speaker topic. I believe that our first speaker has brought us to that very specific scenario, but very depth, no, in terms of connecting it to management, process systems, and approaches. Our second speaker is the Undersecretary of the Department of Labor and Employment. By profession, he has been teaching in the College of Law, the New Era University, member of the International Bar Association, and a lifetime member of the IBP, or the Integrated Bar of the Philippines. He is the Vice President of the Philippine Association of Government Corporate Lawyers. On the areas of voluntarism and civil service, our resource speaker writes in the Manila Times, agile, member and officer of the Services and Training Support Group of the Philippine Coast Guard Auxiliary, OIC CEO of the Subic Bay Metropolitan Authority, Deputy Commissioner, Insurance Commission, Department of Finance. A virtual applause, please, to our resource speaker, Attorney Randy D. Escolango. Good afternoon, Sir Ran.
Good afternoon po. Good afternoon. Naririnig niyo po ba ako?
Loud and
Malinaw
clear.
po sa mga... Okay. Good afternoon, Dr. Junipen, our university president. Good afternoon po to all the PCU officials present and the resource speakers, and to all the all present here. Magandang hapon po sa lahat. I would like to especially thank Dr. Mateo Macalaging Jr. for this invitation to be one of your resource speaker. I'm deeply honored, sir, to be here as a public servant. I was tasked by Dr. Matt to discuss managing within the bureaucracy, people, process, and systems from the public sector perspective. Noon pong nag-message sa akin si Doc Matt about this invitation na naka-schedule today, November 5, 2022, gusto ko po sanang umatras, Doc Matt, dahil supposed to be po ay lalabas kami ng pamilya today. Because today po is the birthday of my one and only son, my namesake, Randy Jr., who is celebrating his 16th birthday today. So meron po kami sanang out of town ng buong pamilya, kasama na syempre po makapag-relax na rin po. But that is not honorable. I don't have an honorable reason to back out no excuse to relax, and more importantly, mahirap pong tanggihan ng isang docmat. Siya po ngayon ng ating program director sa aking postdoctorate in strategic management and leadership. Baka po ibagsak po niya ako. That's why I do not dare turn down this honorable invitation from him. So, Doc Matt, I will fulfill my mission for today. So, alam niyo po, working within the bureaucracy has provided me the opportunity to appreciate and understand some of the intricacies and work around in managing organization, particularly public organization. The realities from this perspective are not set apart from managing organization in general. However, managing within the bureaucracy has its own outstanding peculiarities that bridges failures to success and vice versa, and challenges to a state of fulfillment when harvesting the learnings from experience at hand. Nais ko pong banggitin sa inyo, bago tayo pumunta sa susunod na slide, I started in the public service as a court clerk 3 of the Metropolitan Trial Court of Manila habang ako po ay nag-aaral ng abogasya. At after I passed the bar examination in yung 2001 bar examination, I resigned from the court and I established my own law office sa Olongapo City. After 9 years in the private practice, I again joined the government service as I was appointed as a deputy administrator for legal affairs of the Subic Bay Metropolitan Authority, and after a few years, napagkatiwalaan po tayo maging OIC administrator ng SBMA or yung Subic Bay Metropolitan Authority. Muli po tayong pinagtiwalaan na ma-appoint sa gobyerno, tuloy-tuloy po naging deputy commissioner po tayo ng Insurance Commission for Legal Services sa mahabang panahon, at ang huli nga po ay tayo ay napagtiwalaan, ang huling appointment po sa akin ay naging undersecretary po ng Department of Labor and Employment. Ang total po, nasa 17 years na po tayo sa public service. Ito po ang akin ngayong i-offer po sa inyo sa hapong ito. Next slide po. First things first, what are we referring to when we say bureaucracy? So, try to search for the term in the 1987 Philippine Constitution if you can find it, or try to search the Administrative Code of 1987, or that is the Executive Order number 292. Yan. Both the Philippine Constitution and the Administrative Code are the pillars and the mother of our bureaucracy. Next. The closest term is bureau, as defined in the Administrative Code. Any principal subdivision or unit of any department. For purposes of Book 4, this shall include any principal subdivision or unit of any instrumentality given or assigned the rank of a bureau, regardless of actual name or designation, as in the case of department-wide regional offices. Next. There is a law that almost got the name adopted in toto in its title, and rightly in the law's content, the term bureaucratic essentially qualifies the manner of providing services to the public and the entity responsible for doing so. So the very reason why we need to discuss the managing. Next. Republic Act number 9485, or the Anti-Red Tape Act of 2007, has a long title. Tawag po dito, an act to improve efficiency in the delivery of government service to the public by reducing bureaucratic red tape, preventing graft and corruption, and providing penalties therefore. So this Republic Act number 9485 is later amended by Republic Act 11032. otherwise known po as the Ease of Doing Business and Efficient Government Service Delivery Act of 2018. So from 2007, yung ARTA law, na-amend po noong 2018 lang. Ano naman po ito? Ito yung an act that aims to streamline the current systems and procedures of government services. The law also created the Anti-Red Tape Authority. Yan, meron na pong department headed by a Director General. It is a government agency mandated to administer and implement the law and its implementing rules and regulation, and to monitor and syempre to ensure the compliance with the national policy on anti-red tape and ease of doing business in the country. Makikita nyo po ang efforts ng government against the red tape, especially if you avail frontline services katulad po ng NBI clearance, application, renewal, yung passport application natin, public medical services, driver's license, and vehicle registration, just to name a few. Makita nyo, medyo mas nag-improve. Next. Hindi po. Pabalik po. Tumalo na pala. Pabalik po. Yan. Tumalo na pala tayo kanina. The ARTA aims to improve efficiency and transparency in government's manner of transacting with the public, and it requires each agency to re-engineer the systems and procedures, formulate service standards to be observed in every transaction, and to make known these standards to the client. So how can we check if the government agencies are compliant to the law? So citizens can check each government agency's compliance to the act through its citizens charter set up in the respective offices. Kayo po, pag pupunta po kayo, deal po kayo sa gobyerno, ang titignan nyo po, hahanapin nyo po yung kanilang citizens charter. Bakit po? The citizens charters include yung uniform or standard requirements ng ahensya na yon, the procedures of services to be availed po, the responsible person for each step. Malalaman po doon sa citizens charter. The maximum time, pati po oras to complete the process, the documents to be presented, the amount of fees, pati yung mga babayaran nyo, if necessary, and the procedure for filing complaints or grievance. Nandun po lahat yan sa Citizens Charter. Next. Next slide. Innovation and reforms that make public service faster and more efficient are not only ARTA compliant, but commendable as well. So notable among these are yung pass permit of the Valenzuela government. Yan. Dubbed as the 10-second business permit, is considered po to be the only end-to-end business permit application system in the country and the fastest there is. So the Valenzuela contact tracing app, or the ValTrace, served to minimize community transmission and contain COVID-19 cases with the application of location history tracker. So this aggressive contact tracing scheme grabs the top spot for the best in COVID-19 pandemic response of Digital Governance Award of 2020. Sila po yung na-awardan ng Digital Governance Award. Ito po yung Digital Governance Award 2020, yung is a joint project of the Department of Information and Communication Technology, the Department of Interior and Local Government, and the National ICT Confederation of the Philippines. Next. Okay, another example is the Unified Business Permit Application System, which this is another example is the Quezon City government. Some of the Quezon City's government's innovation gained recognition po in the Future Enterprise Awards 2020, organized by the International Data Corporation, or yung QS BIS-EC Online Unified Business Permit Application System. So, which facilitates faster processing of business permits online, was held as the best in future of customer experience. So yung IDC po is the premier global provider of market intelligence, advisory services, and events for the information technology, the telecommunication, and the consumer technology markets with more than 1,300 analysts worldwide. So ito po yung nagbigay sa kanila ng award. So next. Ito po. With the Philippine Statistics Office or Authority, SEVP, yan. The agency is committed to provide customer the convenience to enjoy the door-to-door delivery of their PSA documents within 2 to 3 days. O dati po, you have to go to personally sa opisina ng PSA. Ngayon po meron na silang tinatawag na SEVP, door-to-door delivery. Ng ano po, kahit nasaan po kayo sa Pilipinas, pwede po kayo makakuha ng birth certificate, the marriage certificate, the death certificates, and certificate of no marriage o SENOMAR o sa ating mga katulad nating mga binata. Yan. Sana hindi ako naririnig ng misis ko, no? SENOMAR, Certificate of Non-Marriage. So, in a case study, the Global Partnership for Sustainable Development Data and the Thematic Research Network on Data and Statistics show how the merging of 4 existing data-producing agencies into the PSA improve the quality and timeliness of public services related to official statistics and data collection. Alam niyo po, as early as late 1990s, the country recognized the need for more coordinated and consolidated statistical system. So what happened was a group of commissioned statistical experts upon assessment found that the system of various Philippine statistical agencies was too decentralized, resulting in communication breakdown, delays in transmitting data from local to central offices, and human resource inefficiencies. So they proposed, anong proposal nila? They proposed a condensed and consolidated statistical system. So as a result po of the study and agency's internal advocacy, the Philippine Statistical Act of 2013 was passed in 2013, consolidating the NSO, the National Statistical Coordination Board, the Bureau of Agricultural Statistics, and the Bureau of Labor and Employment Statistics into PSA. Yan na po yung PSA natin. Sa ngayon, 4 po na iba't ibang ahensya ng gobyerno yan. So the result of the government's investment into the reform process, ano po, nagkaroon ng high-level board was created, chaired by 2 secretaries, the Secretary of Socio-Economic Planning and the Secretary of Finance. Now, having the Secretary of Finance engaged in the PSA governance has been crucial to get, syempre, number 1, pag sabi mo Pinas, may financial support. Ano ho? So with PSA reporting into a secretary rather than to the office of the president, this ensures some neutrality and independence for official statistics. So as of 2017, please take note that the PSA had 3,412 total employees, and the reform process had resulted in approximately 1,200 retirements as of 2014 and 2015. So as part of the commitment to open data sharing and freedom of information, the PSA created this National Open Data Portal in 2014 that has reached 3,000 data files available. Next. So in a recent study, the Institute of Labor Studies, ito naman, success stories po ito ng DOLE. Ano po? Ano ho? The Institute of Labor Studies, ito po ay attached agency po ng Department of Labor and Employment, found that that increased presence of institutionalized public employment services office, yung po yung PESO, naririnig nyo po lagi ang PESO, ano ho? Public Employment Services Office is significantly associated with lower regional unemployment. So it states that the increasing job seekers' access to institutionalized peso is particularly crucial among regions outside of Metro Manila, especially those further away, where jobs and access to key opportunities, resources, the infrastructure, and institutions are limited. So priority should be given as well to the universal peso institutionalization at the municipal level, where governance is closer to the people and where peso programs and services are more accessible. So according to the Asian Development Bank, the ADB asserts that the increase in the number of institutionalized peso over the years has improved the quality and the coverage of the employment services across the country. So gumanda po ang ating dumami ang services natin sa paghahanap ng mga trabaho ng ating mga Pilipino. But despite these successes, peso institutionalization is subject to two principal constraints. So number one is the political constraints into institutionalization is first and foremost a prerogative of the local chief executive who may or may not be convinced of the benefits of an institutionalized peso. And number two, the financial constraint, availability, and the sufficiency of budgetary allocation, since ang funding po ng LGU peso is charged against the locally sourced revenues and its internal revenue allotment. Next. Ito naman po, success story ng Insurance Commission. So, the Insurance Commission po kasi is the regulator and the supervisor of the operations of all the insurance companies, yung life insurance and non-life insurance, mutual benefit association po, health maintenance organization, yung mga HMO. Ang Insurance Commission din po ang regulator. At yung mga pre-need companies, yun yung narinig po natin kay Dr. Montoya, yung mga pre-need company na CAP ay na-under po yan sa Insurance Commission. So the agency, the Insurance Commission has been consistently improving streamlining of its services through the digitalization and quality management system. And its effort in these areas have been very fruitful, especially during the worst period of the COVID-19 pandemic. Among the services po na in its digitalization efforts are focused on the insurance agents examination system under its legal services group licensing operation. So, noong mga panahon na yon, hindi pwede tayong mag-conduct ng face-to-face na examination ng licensing ng mga agents. So, nagkaroon ho tayo ng digitalization examination, digital examination. Meron din tayong reservation or scheduling system. Okay? And the financial and technical services toolkits. So, immediately po, prior to the COVID-19 pandemic, the agency had built resiliency structures for its human resource management system. And mind you, the Insurance Commission was awarded a bronze level accreditation under the Civil Service Commission's program to institutionalize meritocracy and excellence in human resource management, or yung tinatawag po na Prime HRM. Ano po yung Prime HRM? Is a key human resource management toolkit po or framework deployed by the government's Central Personnel Agency. Yan po yung Civil Service Commission, prescribing the performance and the quality indicators and measures to guide development of the fundamental process in the bureaucracy, such as number one, yung recruitment, selection, and placement. Number two po, yung learning and development. Number three, the performance management. And the number four, the rewards and recognition. Yan po yung Prime HRM. Next slide. It is therefore bureaucracy that serves as the main object of ARTA and the ease of doing business act, all important elements that promotes proper management of public affairs and public property. Yung EOD, EGSD, yan po yung ease of doing business and efficient government service delivery. Next. Next slide. The further development of ARTA, or the Anti-Red Tape Act, into a ease of doing business and efficient government service delivery act of 2018, or the RA 11032, reveals the broader context of a more genuine intent of managing in the bureaucracy as realization of the increasing demands for public service. Next. In the original ARTA law, yun po yung RA 9485 noong 2007, Section 5 reads, tignan niyo po ha, please take note of this. All offices and agencies which provide frontline services are hereby mandated to regularly undertake time and motion studies, undergo evaluation and improvement of their transaction system and procedures, and re-engineer the same if deemed necessary to reduce bureaucratic red tape and processing time. Yan. Mapapansin po natin yung portion na sinasabing all offices and agencies which provide frontline services. Now, let us see the amendment of that Republic Act. Nung inamend po yan, naging Republic Act number 11032. Next po. Okay. Ito naman po yung mababasa natin sa Section 5, Re-engineering of Systems and Procedures. All offices and agencies which provide government services are hereby mandated to regularly undertake cost compliance analysis, time and motion studies, undergo evaluation and improvement of their transaction system and procedures, and re-engineer the same if deemed necessary to reduce bureaucratic red tape and processing time. So dito naman po maliwanag po na ang re-engineering of systems and procedures ay kailangan gawin ng all offices and agencies which provide government services. Mas madami po ang kasali, hindi na specified na frontline services lang, kundi all offices and agencies which provide government services. So let us also check on some other remarkable changes in the law. Next slide. So in the RA 11032, the Anti-Red Tape Authority is created with broad powers and responsibilities, stating that the Anti-Red Tape Authority is created in this act shall coordinate with all government offices covered under Section 3 of this act in the review of existing laws, executive issuances, and local ordinances, and, this is important, recommend the repeal of the same if deemed outdated, redundant, and adds undue regulatory burden to the transacting public. Next slide. RA 11032 likewise include a more dynamic assessment methodology with a requirement for regulatory impact assessment for proposed regulation. Next. So it is interesting and noteworthy that under the old law provision in ARTA, it was specified that those performing judicial, quasi-judicial, and legislative functions are excluded from the coverage of the Act. Now, the provision was revised under the ease of doing business law under Section 3. Ang sabi, this act shall apply to all government offices and agencies, including LGU, GOCCs, and other government instrumentalities, and etc. So dati ay parang executive department lang ang kino-cover ng ARTA. But now, sa panibagong batas ng 2018 ay lahat na ho, all government offices and agencies. So next slide. So na-covered ba yung judicial, yung legislative and other agencies? Please note that in the implementing rules of the law, it was confirmed that the essence of the excluded entities under the ARTA remains, as it was effectively actually captured by the definition of the term agency and the office. Yan po yung pan. So that is section 4, paragraph C, and section 4 SS of the Ease of Doing Business Act, implementing rules and regulations. So the simple reason for this is, next slide. Ito. So what then are the remaining challenges of managing within the bureaucracy? So can you name one based on your first-hand experience? Sino po ang pwedeng magbigay ng kanilang experience? Challenges of managing within the bureaucracy. Meron na ho bang pumasok dito galing sa gobyerno? Okay. So, tuloy na natin. Next. Next slide. So, ako na magbibigay ng challenges of managing within the bureaucracy. The case of our transportation management. Yan, tingnan niyo po ang picture. Saan po yan? Sa atin po yung mga LRT stations. Yan, punong-puno, no? Next slide. Okay. According to the Asian Development Bank study in 2012, with rapid Philippine urbanization, by 2030, about 77% of the population will live in urban areas. Yan. Continuous urban agglomeration will further contribute to congestions. From rural areas, lumilipat po yung mga tao sa mga towns and cities at padami ng padami po. Classic example po nito dito sa Metro Manila ay naglilipatan lahat po yung mga nanggaling ho sa rural areas. Next po. Next slide. So, according to the Business Mirror reports on August of 2022, ito another po another challenge managing within the bureaucracy, the case of affordable housing. Kanina ho transportation, ito housing. So according to the Business Mirror report, the DSUD or the Department of Housing and Sustainable Urban Development, that is a newly created department of the government. Department of Housing and Sustainable Urban Development or DSUD cites difficulty of marginalized in house buy. So the DSUD is the primary national government entity responsible for the management of housing, human settlement, and urban development. So this DSUD is mandated to develop and adapt a national strategy to immediately address the provisions of adequate and affordable housing to all Filipinos and ensure the alignment of the policies, the programs, the projects of all its attached agencies to facilitate the achievement of this objective. So, in 2017 to 2022, this year, the Philippine Development Plan or the PDP, the total, according to the total housing need by 2022 would reach 6.8 million units. According to NEDA na naglabas ng Philippine Development Plan. This is composed of accumulated needs like the household in unacceptable housing and double up household in acceptable housing units, and future recurrent needs such as the allowance for inventory losses and increase in households, particularly for those who are projected to likely afford to own acceptable housing units. So as of December of 2016, 2.02 million units are households in unacceptable housing. And double up households in unacceptable housing units. Next slide. So challenges of managing within the bureaucracy the case of fiscal gap in LGUs. So the Philippine Institute for Development Studies, PDIS, is the country's leading source. Ito po yung source of socio-economic policy research natin, yung Philippine Institute for Development Studies. Siya rin yung nag-a-advise and globally recognized think tank, taga-isip, taga-aral. It is a government-owned and controlled corporation of the Philippine national government. It was established in September 1977 to conduct research to help government planners. So its primary client po is the NEDA. Dito po nag-source ng NEDA yung mga information nila sa Philippine Institute for Development Studies. Anong sabi? In 1999, the Philippine Institute of PIDS released policy notes citing certain advantages of urbanization. Cities capture the benefits of economies of scale, which has a tendency to reduce the production cost per unit of delivering certain types of service, such as the sewerage treatment and public transportation. More revenues can be mobilized through increased taxable capacity. So ito naman yung binabanggit niyang advantages of urbanization. Next. So according to the 1999 PIDS policy notes, urbanization influences fiscal gap. Number one, the urbanization, the natural growth and the migration exerts an upward pressure on local government budgets. O tataas, the more na dumadami mga tao, tataas din po yung local government budget. Yan. So population growth entails increasing marginal cost in certain proportion in order to cover service provision. Regression analysis shows that the degree of urbanization and the per capita LGU expenditure were negatively and significantly related. It means that the LGU revenues may not respond as quickly and strongly to rapid population growth because it is held back by the LGU's limited taxing authority and revenue effort. Next slide. So the power to impose real property taxes has been given to the provinces, the cities, and the municipal government. So the real property tax is the most, alam po natin, the most important tax revenue of local governments. So in 1980s po, it accounted for 23% of the total revenues of local government. So the increase in grants to LGUs from the central government, from the internal revenue taxes due to the devolution program in 1991 from 20% to 40% brought a decline in the revenue importance of the real property tax. So there are actually a notable factors that offset the benefits of urbanization in LGU. The number one, the revaluation of properties used in preparing the assessment roll by local assessor. It is done only once in 3 years. Hence, the basis of current market values are generally behind current values. Iba na yan sa market value. So this brings down the values of the real property tax base. Number two, in preparing the schedule or the roll, the mean or the average value of properties in a locality is used. So the inflation drives up government spending requirements almost instantaneously with the rise in the cost of materials and supplies and the pressure to increase government employees' salaries to be able to cope with the higher cost of living. So the real property tax base po is, for that matter, the entire local system is simply not protected against, but actually defeated by inflation. Next. The Supreme Court, in its decision, which became already a final, in its decision in 2019, may isa siyang decision, ang tawag doon, popularly known as Mandanas ruling. It states that all collections of national taxes, except those accruing to special purpose funds and special allotments for the utilization and the development of the national wealth, should be included in the computation of the base of the just share of the LGUs. Kaya lumaki po yung share nila. Okay? These developments, however, does not solve the remaining challenges pertaining to the weak taxing capability of the LGU. Next slide. Who among us do not have problems? Sino ang walang problema? Siyempre po, wala. Lahat tayo ay merong problema. Who among us know exactly what their problems are entirely, all about from the very beginning? Meron ba? Siyempre wala. What brings us away from the solution is oftentimes the way we perceive or understand the problem. And that is where the effort should be. As Einstein puts it, if I were given, sabi niya, 1 hour to save the planet, I would spend 59 minutes defining the problem and 1 minute resolving it. Minsan nga po, kapag nalaman mo na kung ano talaga ang problema, masaya na tayo. Masaya ka na kasi alam mo na agad ang solusyon. So now, our next question is, okay, next slide. How strong then is the bureaucracy geared to solve our problems? In 1921, there were only 14,349 American and Filipino civil servants in 6 government departments, including 21 bureaus and 2 commissions. The total salary expenditure for that year, 1921 was only 18.3 million. But look at the chart. By 1970, there were 531,615 civil servants in 12 government departments, including 44 bureaus, 25 commissions, and 11 boards and corporations, with 1.3 billion spent for that year for all the operations and programs. By 1979, there were almost 1.1 million government personnel. Dumami na ang mga tao. 1.1 million government personnel in 22 ministries. Ministry po kasi mga panahon na 1970s. Hindi po department. 22 ministries excluding the military service. Next slide. So what you see here is a quick summary of government civilian workforce, excluding the military and the police and the third level positions, from the inventory of the government human resource produced by the Civil Service Commission as of June 30, 2022. So mainit-init pa ho ito. Ito po yung kanilang data. It is easily discernible that the government's need for manpower is getting near the 2.5 million mark. So while career personnel is steady above 1.5 million, the need for its augmentation by the non-career and job order and contract of services does not diminish. Tingnan niyo po, rather it remains high, near 800,000. Yan po yung ating chart. So for the past 6 years, na-maintain na dapat 2.5 halos ang kailangan para tuloy-tuloy ang ating gobyerno. Next slide. So in 1970, the government personnel to population ratio is 1:90. 1970 ho. In 1980, 1:52. So this is yung number of government personnel compared to the population. So 1:52. But in 2001, wala pa pala dyan, di ko na. Naging 1:50. So in 2005 Policy Insight Report, the Senate Economic Planning Office pointed out that the Philippine bureaucracy expanded faster than the population using data from 1960 to 2001. So over the 30-year period, the ratio of the government personnel to population has considerably increased from 1 civil servant to every 90 Filipinos in 1970 to 1 every 50 people in 2001. So if you will look at the chart, the 2016 to 2022 data, however, shows a decline from that ratio. And to underline the phenomenon, the government is consistently dependent on hiring job orders, contract of services personnel to complement its regular workforce. Yan, dyan mahilig po ang gobyerno. Kuha ng mga job order, contract of services. So, according to relevant regulations, contracted personnel are those engaged by the government under a no employer-employee relationship to undertake a specific work or job requiring special or technical skills not available in the agency or not part of its regular function to be accomplished within a specific period. Yan po yung definition sana. Pero ang totoo, yung mga contract of worker natin, yung mga job order natin, sila na yung talagang skilled. Sila na yung nakakaalam ng trabaho. And for the longer time, ang tagal na nilang mga job order. Using the 1999 data, the CSC, the Civil Service Commission, pegged the ratio of the police to population ratio at 1:682. Yung police pala natin, kada isang police, 682 ang katumbas na population. When the ideal ratio at that time, 1999, is 1:500. The 2022 mid-year ratio is 1:572 and is now projected to reach the 1 police is to 489 by year end as recruitment, nababalitaan natin, is expected to fill up vacancies. So tuloy-tuloy ang recruitment ng ating mga kapulisan. In 1999, 1:36 teacher student ratio. So noong 1999, isang teacher, 36 ang student ang ratio. Close to what the Department of Education or the DepEd classifies as generous teacher provision. There are schools with the teachers handling as many as 165 students in a class. Dami For 2017 to 2018, the teacher-student ratio is 1:31 for the elementary level and 1:31 for 1:36 for junior high school level and 1:31 for senior high school level. So in 1999, there's only one public doctor for every 26,700 Filipinos. When the World Health Organization standard at that time, during the period is 1:2,000. Sa atin, yung public doctor natin, 1:26,700. Lupit, So, the succeeding slide shows a glimpse of the strength of our local healthcare system during the height of the pandemic from the UP COVID-19 response team report in 2020. Next slide. At the height of the COVID-19 pandemic, the country was solving the challenges at 3.7 strong doctors for every 10,000 population, nurses at 8.2, medtech at 1.2, and hospital beds at 6.1 per 10,000 strong population. So a glimpse of the data shows the strongest medical resources to be concentrated in the National Capital Region at 10 doctors for every 10,000 population, 12 nurses, 3 medtechs, and 13.5 hospital beds per 10,000 population. Next slide. So the annual change in the population with a 1.3% increase would still translate to at least 1.4 million more Filipinos each year needing basic social services, healthcare services, and quality public services in general. So in terms of the size of the population, our country is second only to Indonesia among the Association of Southeast Asian Nations neighbors. So considering the bureaucracy is under the increasing pressure to optimize resource mobilization to achieve its envisioned targets and programs that will reverse the maturing fiscal gap, as we may call it. So remember, as we have discussed earlier, the gap refers to the perceived service needs and the available financial resources. Doing more with limited or less resources is efficiency. Or shall we say, doing more correctly with limited or less resources, because we have only one chance or shot at it to achieve a favorable outcome, is what you call efficiency. And there is no other compelling evidence of achieving efficiency in the bureaucracy than institutionalized quality. Okay, next slide. Next slide. So, who among you know perfectly well the Durand trilogy diagram? Ay, syempre, puro kayo lahat nag-masters, nag-doctors. Marami na pong nakakaalam sa inyo. Dr. Joseph Moses Durand, who created it, is considered the father of modern quality management. If you will notice in the diagram, his trilogy refers to the number 1, the quality planning. Ito po yung bahagi ng project or program kung saan dapat pag-isipan nating mabuti ang mga resources, ang proseso, excuse me, na kailangan natin para ma-achieve ang objective ng organization. So number 2 is the quality control. Ito yung bahagi po kung kailan isasakatuparan mo yung proyekto ayon sa aprobadong plano. At syempre, sinusubaybayan mong mabuti kung maganda ba yung performance ng mga kasukasuan, kung nasusunod ba ng tama ang proseso at kung tamang specifications ang mga materyales na ginagamit. Ano yung number 3 sa kanyang trilogy? Yung quality improvement. Ito naman po yung mga realization ng adjustments na dapat gawin habang tumatakbo ang proyekto, na maaring pagdagdag ng automation, pagpapaigting ng kakayahan or yung skills ng mga nagtatrabaho, or yung pagdadagdag po ng motivation para mas ganado po yung ating mga manggagawa. So the simple wisdom of this message, 2 ways of looking at the meaning of quality. Number 1, quality is freedom from deficiencies, and it is not free. Number 2, but deficiency is very costly. Another wisdom that we can get from this, providing more and or better quality features usually requires an investment, and therefore usually involves increases in cost. So freedom from errors that requires doing work over again, or yung rework, or that the result in failures, customer dissatisfaction, customer claims, and so on. So in this sense, the meaning of quality is oriented to cost, and higher quality usually costless. So example po, nagluto ka ng adobo, pero dahil hindi mo ito pinagplanuhan, pinag-aralan kung ano ba talaga ang magandang gamiting sangkap, basta bira ka lang. Yan Tira ka lang, lagay lang lahat ng mga kung ano-anong mga maisip mo. So mataas pa ang mga iba, naging lasang parang sinigang na, di ba? Yung adobo mo naging lasang sinigang. So hindi mo na mapakinabangan ng adobo na lasang sinigang. Siyempre, sino bang may gustong adobo na lasang sinigang? The simple result, close to zero satisfaction. Hindi mo rin makakain yon. Very high cost of satisfaction per unit. Gumastos ka lang, hindi mo naman napakinabangan. So nung nilagyan mo ng sangkap at proseso na dekalidad at tagapagluto na magaling, yan nabihasa, may karunungan, aral at yung sanay, may inilaan na tamang panahon at oras sa pagluluto, anong resulta? Adobong adobong napakasarap, sarsa pa lang, ulam na. So mapakikinabangan po yung ng nakararami. So simple result, more satisfaction at lesser cost per unit of satisfaction. Next. Next slide. So, sino si Dr. Joseph M. Moran? Distinguished management guru. Was a Romanian-born American engineer and management consultant. So after W. Edwards Deming, sino si Edwards Deming? Deming is the father of the total quality management. Si Juran na po was the second American guru who taught and guided the quality control courses to Japanese industry leaders in 1954. Siya rin po, he came up with a quality control handbook for the first time in 1951. Inintroduce niya rin po ang managerial dimensions of planning. Yan yung po yung kanina, yung kanyang trilogy. Planning, organizing, and controlling. And focus on the responsibility of management to achieve the quality and the need for setting goals. So Juram is widely regarded as the founding father of many of the key quality management programs used by organizations today. Next. Naririnig pa rin ho ba ako? At nauunawaan pa rin ho ba? Okay?
Yes, sir.
Sige, magpatuloy po tayo. Ano ho?
Loud and clear.
So, recognizing the significance of the quality in the managing the bureaucracy and the need for strengthening its arms to improve the public service delivery. Now, the government has established key pillars for service efficiency improvements built on one another. Ano po ito? Yung Government Quality Management Program. Yan po yung ISO 9001. Ano pa yung mga programa niya? Yung Strategic Performance Management System and Institutionalization of Results-Based Performance Management System. Also, likewise, anchored on ISO 9001. Ano din po yung inilabas pa ng gobyerno? Yung Prime HRM of the Civil Service Commission as a holistic approach or framework on personnel management. Next slide. Next slide. So pursuant to the Administrative Code of the Philippines, Administrative Order number 161, series of 2006, and the Executive Order 605, 2007, government agencies are directed to adopt the ISO 9001 2000 Quality Management System as part of the implementation of a government-wide quality management program. Applicable government quality management system standards with priority to be given to frontline services. So this QMS or the quality management system has since then been continuously integrated and developed. Aside from undergoing external and internal audits and certifications, each government agency is mandated to maintain its citizens charter. Hanapin niyo po yan lagi. Pag nakikipag-deal kayo sa government, may citizens charter po siya. Pwede pagka hinanap niyo po yun, nandun yung makikita ang proseso ng mga transaksyon na sa gobyerno. So when you visit a government agency and its website, it is common to see the banners about its frontline services. Nandun na makikita yung mga frontline services showing the step-by-step procedures, processing time, kasama din po yung fees for requesting services or other transaction. So, next slide. The objective of the SPMS, yan, may SPMS na, Strategic Performance Management System, as a key component of the RBPMS are as follows. Ayan the concretize the linkage of the organization performance with the Philippine Development Plan, Agency Strategic Plan, and the organizational performance. Yan. ensure organizational effectiveness and the improvement of individual employee efficiency by cascading institutional accountabilities to the various levels of the organization. Another component is the link performance management with other human resource system and ensure adherence to the principle of performance-based tenure and incentive system. So, because of the SPMS structure, ito po, inilabas na guidelines ng civil service, performance goals and measurements up to the individual employee level are aligned to the national development plans, the agency mandate, vision, mission, and strategic priorities, and or organizational performance indicator framework. Standards are predetermined to ensure efficient use and the management of inputs and work processes. So these standards are integrated into the success indicators or yung po yung organizational objectives and then cascaded down to the operational level. For example po, yung an employee's performance indicator, number of certain types of outputs processed with no errors and issued to clients within an X number of hours. So it reflects the performance measures and the indicators that should tell how the individual's delivery of outputs in quantity, quality, timeliness affect a certain performance goal or objective set at an organizational level. So the individual measure and indicator should be complementary and or integrated within the overall performance context of other individuals who are also contributing to the organization's objectives. Now, to achieve this, a careful planning and strategizing should be institutionalized at the different levels of the organization, usually done via a workshop. So the SPMS, the Strategic Performance Management System Premium on major final outputs that contributes to the realization of organizational mandate, mission, the vision, strategic priorities, outputs, and outcomes. Next. Ito na. The prime HRM has a set of indicators to guide the government agencies elevate the standards of their systems, practices, and the competencies of the human resource management officers. So these indicators cut across the so-called pillars of the prime HRM. Ano po yun? The number 1, yung recruitment, the selection and the placement. The number 2, yung learning and development. Number 3, the performance management. And number 4, the rewards and recognition. Government agencies are first assessed by the concerned the Civil Service Commission, field or regional office to determine the level of maturity of their HR pillars. From level 1, yun yung transactional, level 2, process defined, level 3, integrated, and level 4, strategic. So just to illustrate, a strategic recruitment system would be advanced such that the agency uses recruitment generated data to evaluate system including workforce planning and make strategic decisions to ensure continuing alignment and responsiveness of hiring to its agency strategic goals. Lower maturity on this scale would mean the agency merely relies on the Civil Service Commission's feedback on its compliance with the RSP policy and is less proactive when it comes to the future manpower needs of the agency. Next. Innovations and reforms that make the public service faster, more efficient, more transparent will have to heavily rely on strategic efforts on digitalization and information records management. Ulitin ko po, innovations and reforms that make public service faster, more efficient, and more transparent will have to heavily rely on strategic efforts on digitalization and information or records management. As decisions have to be made fast, accurate, and efficient, the records and information should be moved and managed according to the demands of various government systems. So with this, the Department of Information and Communication Technology, the DICT, has established a master plan which aims to improve the organizational and the intergovernmental coordination and address personnel and capacity issues in the utilizing the ICT for more efficient operations, public service delivery, and support business to perform more actively. Next. So with these endeavors sustained, the realization of the genuine intent and the meaning of managing within the bureaucracy can be attained. Engineered systems bridge us to quality improvement and enhance capability to manage the bureaucracy with limited resources. The same vision is embraced by no less than the President of the Philippines. Next slide. When the concept of quality management system using the ISO 9001 standards started to be integrated in the bureaucracy in 2006, it sets in motion the need for continuous improvement. So innovation for Philippine public service served to inspire a form of management long before that. But ISO 9001 was particularly contagious. It blended well with the desire of our leaders to run the bureaucracy more efficiently than before. So no less than the President Ferdinand Bongbong Marcos Jr. declared that we have to streamline the operation of government, which immediately brings us to digital and IT communication para maging mas maganda po at ang pagtakbo. With this, the team reinventing the government, re-engineering the bureaucracy, naririnig ko natin, may have to stay with us forever. For our next slide, the last slide. Yan. An Austrian American management consultant, Peter Drucker. Yan. Naririnig ko natin yan, nababasa natin, daming libro niyan. Introduced in his 1992 published book that management is all about managing for the future. As with Duran, we earlier mentioned, Drucker is obsessed with the role of quality in perfecting managing organizations. Therefore, we will always trace things back to quality. So the seed of quality is innovation. And this is especially relevant to managing within the bureaucracy. A motorcycle repairman who needs to replace a broken engine part needs to put a stop to its operation. Yan. Perform disassembly and replacement. Then finally, put everything back again and test if things go well. Replacing a broken part while engine is in operation is not near impossible. It is impossible. So the bureaucracy is worse than an engine. The bureaucracy needs to work night and day for the well-being of our society. But that is not the reason why it is worse. We are compelled to adopt a sense of urgency and concern as while we tend to pause and think of what fitting reform should be, the bureaucracy cannot be stopped from evolving into something, even to a shape and figure that we don't like. It is therefore imperative that we do a more clever workaround than a repairman would do. By stopping engine operation with ongoing repairs, if the reforms were the new parts, we need to set these things in while bureaucracy is in motion. Mga kasama kong nakikinig sa ngayon, kailangang magpasok tayo ng mga innovation, reforms, or development strategies sa tamang tempo habang tumatakbo ang ating bureaucracy at dapat ang resulta nito ay mas mabilis, maayos at epektibong serbisyo. When we already have the best suited people, process, and systems, kailangan din natin ipasok ito sa pinaka-tamang pagkakataon. This challenge is before us. And whatever we make of it will define the kind of success and innovation that we will leave as legacy for our children and the next generation. So, diyan po nagtatapos ang aking presentation. Maraming salamat po sa inyong pakikinig at have a nice day po sa lahat. Salamat po. Next slide. Thank you. Salamat po.
Thank you so much, Usec, for your presentation. Again, you brought us down to the line of bureaucracy and applying management. I think that it's a challenge, and I think our audience now are looking for the right statement, no, for reaction and comments later, no, in our open conversation. So thank you so much. Let me go back again. Sorry. Hold on. Okay, for the rest of the other attendees, so please make use of our chat box. You can write down your comments, suggestions, questions later, no, for our open conversation, no, with the resource speakers. At this juncture, let me present our humble appreciation. Let me read the citation. Usec, Philippine Christian University awards this certificate of appreciation, Attorney Randy B. Escolango, for his invaluable insights as resource speaker during the discourse session on managing organization, people, process, system, and environment. A webinar for graduate studies given this 5th day of November 2022 through Zoom Meet Manila, Philippines. Thank you for heeding the call to the PCU core values of faith, character, and service. Signed by the President, Dr. Junipen F. Gawan. Virtual applause, please, to our resource speaker, Attorney Usec Randy B. Escolango. Maraming salamat po. Usec.
Salamat po. Salamat po na marami.
I hope you can stay around for our open conversation. At this point, good afternoon again sa lahat. No? We are around 124 in the session this afternoon. We can end the session without our third gentleman. We have here BF's governance as Marikina's mayor has transformed the former municipality into one of the best managed cities. In Congress, he served as the representative of the 1st District of Marikina, chair of the Committee on Human Rights, and elected as Deputy Minority Leader. I think agility, no, has an in-mark already, no, to this gentleman. As a mayor, MMDA chair, congressman, and president of BF Corporation. Ladies and gentlemen, a virtual round of applause, please, to our third resource speaker, Engineer BF Bayani, Fernando Flores. Flores Fernando. Good afternoon po.
Good afternoon. Good
Good
afternoon.
afternoon, BF.
Thank you for having me this afternoon. I'd like to
Yes. Nice to see you again po.
salamat at naanyayahan ninyo ako tagal na rin akong nawala sa limelight, ano? Anyway, I hope I can be able to contribute some good things this afternoon. But before anything else, I'd like to thank the Philippine Christian University for this good effort of them to bring forth problems and solutions to our country's needs. And also, I'd like to thank our good host and moderator, si Atty.
Mateo po, Mateo.
Mateo
Yeah.
Makalaking. Yeah, oo. Yung aking mga the two other presenters this afternoon, Randy Escolango, the attorney Escolango, and the other
Jose Montoya.
Montoya. Oh, I hope I be able to add on to what they've said. Anyway, can I start now?
Yes po.
All right. I very simple, ano. Actually, I am always guided by one thing in management. In the management, sabi nila, in the military, everything is designed with the consideration of the foot soldier. No? And that's where we start. I have a story. I've got something here which I wrote about 20 plus years ago on my way to America on board a plane. I wrote something which I have actually sa tawag ko doon ay guide to lead. A guide to lead, no? And I enumerated the 10 important things there to lead. And most important of all is to know, first of all, to know your resources and constraints. And to that, I have actually, from management textbooks, I got 7 things that need to be considered, no? The resources and constraints in any undertaking. To make a good plan, you have to know your resources and constraints. And I have just added one simple thing. I converted this to a matrix, no? And this is how it looks, the matrix. But please, share screen tayo.
Yes po. Anytime.
Saan ay matrix natin? And itong guide to lead is one page to, no? Ito, to know your objective. Isayin ko lang, know your resources or constraints in equipment, materials, manpower, money, facilities, know-how, and time. Okay? Sige, iba pa. Bilis. And this one goes into a planning matrix, no? Usually, when we plan, at least we know these things, no? But we think on a one plane, no? On a single plane, in one dimension. But we have to add another dimension because that's, while there are 7, you add another dimension times 7, there's 49 things that you have to consider to make a good plan that have more success, more assurity or assurance of success. And if I may look at it, to a simple person, yung medyo in one dimension. Doing this, you're now talking of 2 dimensions. And best of all, if you can go to another 3rd dimension, the strategic things, but that's a little far off na to discuss. But at least we have to consider this. Ayan. So maalaman natin ang problema natin before we start to do anything. Short of any of this would give a big problem. In most cases, it starts to make everything more difficult to execute. Now, the number 3 is sana yan? Draw a plan to the last bolt, to the last man. Spend time planning. Huwag kang magmadali. Okay? I-plano mo na. And this is the case of, this is actually how we in the construction industry look at the Japanese model. The Japanese, they start yung site work a little late, like that. than most companies of different nationalities. No, they start late, but when as soon as they start naman, you can see how fast they can execute things, and actually with the assurance of more success, because they are planning things to the last bolt, to the last month. That's how well they prepare things. And then you sell your plan. You have to convince your boss. You have to convince your co-workers. You have to convince everybody that your plan is good. Yeah. And that's selling. And make sure, then make sure every man has his orders. We have to make sure that everyone is doing his share of the work. His task is doing his task pretty well. I say sometimes this creates trouble in the ranks. When you see some people not doing their what they are supposed to deliver, and then it causes some bad reactions to so many. Then give comfort to every man, and this is actually give him a good pay, give him a good environment of working environment, all these things, no, to consider, because we have to consider that's most important. And then make sure everyone is doing share. And when things go wrong and you're pressed for time, don't do it alone. Let the organization help to keep tasks online. The organization may be bigger than you think. Many people don't even talk to their they keep it to themselves, but that's not the idea of an organization. Organizations are actually organized labor, to each man to his own expertise. So you have to make use of that. And sometimes we fail to consider. And then change plan or abort mission if the job cannot be done, but get prior clearance from whoever gave you the order. This is very important. These are actually, if you see in management, sabi nila yung feedback. You have got to get the right feedback. You have to give the right feedback so that things can be managed pretty well. That's good. Yeah. And number 10. Oh, wala ata. When in doubt, ask for assistance. Mahalaga yan. But some people sometimes, because of mere pride, they don't want to ask for it. No, they don't want to look like they want to look like they're good, so they don't ask for the assistance. Okay. And when the job is done, report. Mission accomplished, sir. The job is not done unless you have reported that your assignment has been done. Okay, so that management would proceed with whatever the next phase of whatever you're going to the target. If you succeed, let everyone know, and if you fail, let me be the first to know, for damage control, and that is so important. So yeah, that's I share with wish to share with everybody, managing people, and to have to be a successful manager, you have to have this in mind. You have to have this kind of character. You have to know these things and practice this thing. And then you have to get everyone under you to follow the same thing. And that will get the organization moving. That's ma'am. Okay? So now I've been in I was in government for almost ilang years na. 18 years yata, no? 9 years as mayor, then 8 years with the MMDA, 17 plus 6 years in Congress. I got a long time. And my little experience in government, I wrote something which I would like to share with everyone. And this is not really new to some people, because when I ran for vice president before, I wrote this thing, no? itong aking pinaka foundation or everything that I have been doing with government. Ito, strong political will in order to solve the poverty in disorder in our country. And this one, I heard the attorney, the good attorney who made the presentation earlier, si attorney Escolango, talking about the laws, no? And very important in these treaties that I have been presenting is laws are solutions. Mukhang yan ang problema natin. Ang ating mga kababayan do not consider laws are solutions. Never I've heard anybody, even the lawyers, saying laws are solutions. But they are. And with all these things that the good attorney have mentioned, it cannot be well appreciated. And it may not happen as what those people who have made these laws appreciate. Because our people don't consider laws as solutions, but actually they are, and our laws are so good. We borrowed these laws from people from laws, the Roman laws and everything the world has done, and we just actually revised them to suit our conditions. So that's one thing that I know. But in all these things, it can only happen with a strong political will from the leadership. Otherwise, wala. First thing, we have to get everybody to understand that laws are solutions. Otherwise, wala. And that's what I've seen in my 76 years of life. That's what I've seen. We're wasting so much of the good things that our laws are here provide for us as guidelines and things that would get us to improve our lives. Yeah. So I share this with everybody, and I wish it would be of help. I would not prolong my presentation. Anyway, there will be I think questions and answers later. I shall. So I would like to again to thank our host, and thank you very much for giving me this opportunity to present this thing once again to the Filipino people, that they may somehow sana they can consider. Okay. Thank you very much. Salamat. Maraming.
Thank you so much, BF.
Thank you.
Maraming salamat po. That was brief yet meaningful to all of us here. Would like to, first and foremost, we would like to appreciate your time. Thank you so much. We had just informed you through Doc Index and friends that if you can join us and with your approval, so we can thank you enough for that generosity. Please accept this certificate of appreciation. Let me read the citation. Philippine Christian University awards the certificate of appreciation to Engineer Bayani BF Flores Fernando for his invaluable insights as resource speaker during the discourse session on managing organization, people, process, system, and environment, a webinar for graduate studies given this 5th day of November 2022 through Zoom Meet, Manila, Philippines. Thank you for heeding the call to the PCU core values of faith, character, and service. Signed by the President, Dr. Junipen F. Gawan. A virtual applause, please, to our resource speaker, BF Fernando. Thank you so much. Okay, I think this is a losing up yet another area for our activity this afternoon to view some of our questions, comments, suggestions, queries. So we have the honor the gentlemen are still here. Bayani Fernando, Rande Escolango, and Jose Montoya, our STEAM resource speakers, are around. So just write down in our chat box your questions or comments, or make a icon or raise hand icon so we can acknowledge you in this juncture. Okay, so let me stop share my screen first so I can acknowledge those who have raised their hand. Okay, good afternoon, Jamie.
Yeah, good afternoon, Doc Matt, and good afternoon, our resource speakers. And I'd just like to to address this to Mayor BF and Attorney Randy. No? Mayor, dito po kami sa San Pedro, no, in San Pedro, Laguna, and San Pedro, Laguna is right after Muntinlupa, no, katabing-katabi. When you were the chair of MMDA, alam niyo po talaga itong San Pedro, Laguna. And I used to be the public information officer of Mayor Calix Katakis, your good friend, kung natatandaan niyo po, ano. And I remember one time in 2007. So ano pa lang ako, kaka-graduate ko lang po ng college noon, wala pa po ako sa kanya noon. Noong 2007 po, when dito po sa San Pedro, pag pinag-uusapan po yung political will tsaka yung making unpopular decisions but in the long run favorable sa tao, kayo po yung pinag-uusapan dito sa San Pedro. Because kung natatandaan niyo po noong 2007, when after the election of Mayor Katakis, nakabalik po siya in 2007, sabi po niya that you were the one who advised him to make unpopular decisions but in the long run beneficial sa tao, and he did it. Tandaan niyo po, ang Mabini Street po rito sa amin, yung po yung major thoroughfare ng San Pedro. At napakasikip po niyan because of obstructions. Talagang yung mga sidewalk, siguro po, tatandaan niyo yan. Ano? And then, after niyang manalo, because of your advice, talaga pong ginawa niya, pinabakbak niya yung mga obstructions, yung mga nag-overlap sa sidewalk ng mga bahay, ng mga establishments, pinatibag niya. And then alam niyo, dahil nagmura kay Mayor Katakis noon, galit na galit ang tao, sabi, nanghihinayang kami, dapat di na namin ibinoto at si Katakis hindi na nakabalik dahil sa ginawa niyang pagpapatupad ng batas nga, na. And then after almost a year, nakita namin yung Mabini Street, nakita ng mga tao na ang ganda ng naging resulta niya. Kita na po yung boundary ng San Pedro at Muntinlupa, major thoroughfare siya, napakasikip, kitang-kita na. So, the following election, hindi na po siya pinag-usapan. And then, panalo pa rin si Mayor. Ibig sabihin, pag pinag-uusapan yung unpopular decision, you make unpopular decisions right after election, but in the long run, the people will be the major beneficiaries. So, it's your trademark in San Pedro, Mayor BF. No? Siguro, tatandaan niyo pa po siguro yun, noong 2007 with Mayor Calix Katakis. Medyo may sakit lang siya ngayon. Baka makamusta ninyo.
Hindi ko alam. Ha? Meron sakit, ha? Kamusta mo ako sa kanya?
Opo, Mayor BF. At yun po yung yung political will and yun po yung naging trademark ninyo sa amin. So,
in Marikina.
You were the MMDA chairman at that time, at hindi ho sa pambobola, marami hong nakakamiss sa inyo dahil marami na naman bumabalik na mga obstructions. Talagang ang kailangan political will dahil natatakot po yung mga politiko na magpatupad ng batas dahil baka hindi na po sila iboto sa susunod na eleksyon. Siguro kailangan po ng motivation ninyo para na maipatupad uli yung batas lalo na sa mga sidewalks. And secondly, finally, yung pong alam rin po ito ni Mayor BF kay Attorney Randy that it's a very serious concern, the gap between the fiscal gap in local government. Alam nyo, napapanahon talaga to, kaso rin sa Marikina and kaso rin dito sa amin sa San Pedro. Kaming San Pedro, third class when it comes to income na city ang San Pedro. Andiyan po si Professor X, first class super first class yan dahil Makati yan, alam po natin that the 5% mandatory allocation to disaster fund, to disaster risk reduction management fund, ay hindi po maaring enough siya sa Makati, enough sa Manila, enough sa Quezon City, but it will never be enough to cities na hindi ganun kalalaki yung ang tawag na ngayon national tax allotment, no, hindi na IRA. So so sa tingin po ninyo, Attorney Randy, with that gap, no, lalo ngayon kasi nagbaha na naman itong nakaraang bagyo kay Paeng, ang laki po ng inilubog namin dito sa Laguna mula San Pedro, Binyan, Santa Rosa, grabe ho. Disaster ho talaga. At yung mga katabi ho namin bayan, even Muntinlupa, Santa Rosa, San Pedro, mas malalaki ho budget yan sa amin. Pero problema pa rin po nila talaga yung baha. At with that scheme, with that bureaucratic scheme na 5% allocation to disaster fund, kasi highly devolved po yan devolved ang disaster di ba? Kumbaga parang solong mas malaki na po yung responsibility of the local government in responding, in preparation, in response, in all aspects of disaster management. Ang laki po ng responsibilidad ng local government, but kahit yung mayayamang cities po na nilulubog na po ng baha dito sa Bay Area, mukhang sa tingin ko po hindi na, parang mahihirapan na rin pong solusyonan dahil sa resources sa pondo. Ang mangyayari na lang po, tatanggapin na lang po natin yung baha, paulit-ulit na lang. But at the end of the day, at the end of the baha, magre-ready na lang ng mga relief operations, mga relief goods, pampapogi nga naman, So siguro ano po ba yung ninyo, yung insight ninyo, Mayor BF and Attorney Randy, that ano kaya ang possible na mabilis ang solusyon on the fiscal gap, particularly when it comes to disaster management. Thank you so much, Doc Matt.
Thank you. Gentlemen?
Bigyan po natin ng pagkakataon yung ating butihing Mayor Bayani Fernando po na sumagot mo na.
Well, anyway, I think that 5% is actually intended for yung mga for buying mga food stuff in case there's a calamity, that not really for infrastructure. I think that was the intention before. I'm not too sure, no. But in any case, we really have to plan out things and yung budget, the right budgeting.
Yeah.
But one thing is to know the needs of the community, like to prevent yung flooding halimbawa, no. There's one thing halimbawa, itong nagkukulang . There's so many flood control projects all over the country, pero walang natatapos. We've spent so much money, but very few are saved from flooding, because we put some money in one flood control in this flood control, but when so flooding, you have to if it requires diking the whole place, preventing the flood waters from coming into the community, you have to enclose the whole area. At unless a small opening can really bring back the flood. So, kinakailangan kumpletuhin yun. Otherwise, don't do anything. It's too dangerous. You will have extreme high flow, high velocity water rushing through the homes and all these things. Better to leave it the whole place open than these are actually engineering. And that's, I think, what is lacking in this our number one requirement is good engineering, and we are not too good at it. We are not too good at engineering, so we have to get the best of our people who knows this thing and like pull them together and let's design our communities to be safe from these calamities. Yan ang problema natin, engineering.
Thank you, BF, Mayor.
Attorney Randy?
For me, resource mobilization and involvement of the private sector through PPP in the infra build-up could possibly address the massive infra requirement. So LGUs affected by common problem could unite and find common solution and work in tandem with the national government and involve the private sector. And the most important is, I fully agree with the good Mayor Bayani Fernando. Kailangan natin sa gobyerno may political will, kaya kailangan natin ng isang Bayani Fernando na ibalik sa gobyerno. Yun po ang aking sagot.
May I add something, ano? Tingin ko karamihan ng mga communities, they don't even have a complete plan to prevent this thing. So unless you have a complete plan, you would not know how much you need. Yan ang problema natin. So kinakailangan, they have to follow yung aking pinaano kanina. No? They have to plan out things. With the 7 resources and constraints, they have to fill up the 49 things that have to be considered to get things. Money is just one element of it. But your requirement can only be established after you have made the complete plan for it. I doubt kung may community dito who was like the Marikina Valley, Marikina River Flood Control Program. It's been going for 60 years. And we spent no less than 50 billion, and not one community has been saved from flooding up to this time. And the plans are not yet complete for the whole stretch, for the whole place. That's one thing that needs to be considered. Most important of all. Otherwise, bali wala lahat yan. Magkakagastos lang tayo, bahain niya pa. Imagine, I just want to repeat. The flood control for Metro Manila, this section, okay? The Americans designed the Santolan, the Mangahan floodway to remove that flooding in the Marikina Valley, okay? It's been done. But actually, up to this time, with all this, and that's been 60 years ago when it was planned out. Until this time, the last is they have given 5 billion for the portions of Marikina City. And for 60 years, more than 50 billion have been spent, and not one community has been saved from flooding. And this message I want to toss to the Department of Public Works, that they may consider. Before anything else, let's rush up in the design of flood controls program, but do not start anything unless a whole program, a whole design, the design is made.
Thank you.
Mayor, follow up lang po, Doc Matt. Mayor, yung 50 billion po ninyong nabanggit na spent resources on that flooding, ano po yan? From the city government lang or lahat na? From other sources, national included?
Most of them coming from the Japanese. Okay. Nung araw is the Americans would have funded it through siguro from the World Bank. But actually, the Japanese took over. And they started with the Mangahan floodway, okay, and so on. So every now and then there'll be additional loans coming from the Japanese government. We have to thank the Japanese government. Pero unfortunately, we better we better have the complete plans and complete the money. Otherwise, it's useless. It's useless. Let us put, all over the country, yan ang problema. Every year, funds are taken from the national coffers, from the local government for flood control, and yet not one community has been saved from flooding. If ever, siguro may 1 or 2 or 3 special cases, but you see how the flooding is really so pervading all over the country, di ba? Nakikita natin hanggang ngayon, nakakaawa tayo. Technically, we are not too good. And we have to realize that and accept that. So we have to do something. Knowing that, what should we do? Yun ang ating i-resolve natin. Shall we rely on foreign consultants to make these designs for us? Shall we, Shall we train more people, or shall we engage more? And siguro, kung may diferensya, kastiguin para magpagbutihin. Bakit hindi na pagbubuti? Yan ang natin. Anyway, thank you.
Can I add more?
Go ahead,
Doc Matt?
Attorney.
Sometimes it is the definition of or source of the problem. Baka kasi garbage problem siya because communities are not disciplined. Baka the problem is the reservoir. So careful planning is deemed critical. Solution should be multidimensional and not only about budget, as Mayor Bayani Fernando has indicated.
Yung garbage could be one source of problem, but not really. Pag tinignan mo, like Marikina, the garbage coming from the mountains are more than what we have. Okay? The falling down trees, those they are garbage from the mountains, and they would block the rivers and all these things has to be considered. Tayo napo-focus tayo sa garbage. Yung garbage medyo localized pa yung flooding eh. Yeah? Yan ang natin. And yet every time we will say it's the money that we don't have. So but actually, even with the money, we're not putting it the right time, at the right place, the right time. Yan ang...
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Attorney Randy and Chair BF. Thank you. Thank you, Jaime, for your question and your observation. Anyone else? Okay, I think Ariel is making some edit on our Google form evaluation for our activity this afternoon. So all of us must be able to click so we can submit our appreciation to the activity conducted this afternoon. So thank you on that in advance. Okay, one question here from Julio Ormeneta. To Sir Jose Montoya, this is for GSM. During my college years in CAP, I really enjoyed the way the modules were written, especially in history subjects. My question, sir, what are their plans or future plans of the school? How about graduate studies, sir?
Okay, we are in the process now of preparing and processing the preparation of programs and modules and curriculum. And this we are forwarded to CHED. And as soon as we get the approval of CHED, we will again relaunch the MBA program. We had that about, I think about 4 or 5 years ago. No? And at that time, we, especially the master and pastoral studies, we temporarily stopped it because it's no longer viable, meaning people who got involved in the postgraduate courses, I think they reach only about 20. But this time we'll promote the MBA program, and our tie-up are with corporations and institutions, especially supervisors or managers who wanted to pursue an MBA degree in order to develop further their career. We will get in touch with you, and rest assured that we'll announce that properly as soon as we get the permission of CHED. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, GSM. Can we see more of the attendees, please, for your additional insights to our discussion this afternoon? Reg, Lax, want to say something? Yes, good afternoon. Yes, Reg.
Good afternoon, Doc Mac. Thank you for inviting us to this a very pleasant and very informative discussion this afternoon. To our three distinguished speakers, thank you very much for the very informative advices and and tips for managing business and and personnel, sir. Sir, can I just ask question to Sir Jose Montoya?
Yes, go ahead. Go ahead, Reg.
Yes, Sir Jose Montoya, because in our industry, we have so many personnel that are interested to upgrade their the positions, but sir, they have a problem regarding education. So sir, sana I want to ask the information how to to enroll in your CAP educational program, so I can help and inspire my personnel in our department.
Okay, that would be very nice, very timing and appropriate. You might be interested to know that the head of our academic affairs operations, Dean of Studies, is Dr. Matt Makalangig. Okay, and get in touch with Doc Matt, and I'm very sure he will accommodate you. And I believe that if Matt is listening, just get in touch with Matt, and I will guarantee that action will be taken within 24 hours.
Thank you very much,
Yeah.
Sir Jose Montoya.
Thank you, Reg.
Thank you, pa. Thank you.
Yeah, we will act on that. As
Thank you, Doc Matt.
Yeah, we will act on that. Thank
Sige
you.
pa. Doc Matt, once again po, I want to thank these three distinguished speakers for giving us a very knowledgeable and very informative afternoon.
Thank you so much, Reg. Thank you so much also for joining our group. No,
Thank you, sir.
Doc Matt,
Yeah.
ako rin.
Yes, go ahead.
If I- Doc Matt, tinitingnan ko yung mga participant dito. Meron akong nakikita, kilala ko ito eh. Kakilala ko ba, magkaibigan ba kami ni Judith Batin? Parang pamilya na yung mukha niya eh.
Yeah, also our module mentor for Cap College.
Okay.
Yes po.
Yun.
Dr. Batin is here. Yes.
Dr. Batin, pag magkita tayo, bigyan mo ako ng letrato na may dedication ka. Salamat po.
Okay. Thank you so much. Okay. Anyone else, please? Doc Pangan, if you want to share comments? Okay, I'm checking.
Hi, sir.
Yes, good afternoon. Yes, Doc. Doc Arnold. Good afternoon.
Yeah, sir. Good afternoon po to all our distinguished speakers. Good afternoon, Doc Matt. Good afternoon to everyone. I just remember when I was, I think that was year, when I was still in college, we had a Akbay-Aral in Marikina. And I just noticed that the Marikina during the time that the Mayor Bayani was the mayor, talagang grabe ang political will. Even the students in Marikina, yung mga bata, makikita mo, gaano sila kadisiplina, hindi sila nagtatapon ng basura kung saan-saan. Siguro na-instill na sa mind because of the nakita siguro ng mga everybody in the community kung gaano ka-strong yung political will ng mayor. Kaya everybody was sumusunod sa lahat ng ginagawa. And na-instill na sa mind ko yun until now, in my position, yung political will talaga ang importante. So I agree totally with our distinguished mayor. Salamat po sa inyo.
Thank you, Doc Pangan. Thank you. Good afternoon. Go ahead, JSM. You can unmute. Click first the microphone. Okay. Go ahead.
Okay na ako?
Yes po. Loud and clear.
Okay, it might interest you to know kung nakikinig pa si Mayor, no? Halos 6 na taon na akong tumira dyan sa Marikina, Lilac. O sa SSS Village, okay? At during his time, ito na ang masasabi ko that it is not against any other political leader, no? ang kay Bayani, Engineer Bayani Fernando, malakas ang kanyang leadership qualities eh. Kaya sumusunod ng mga tao. Maraming mga tao nasa posisyon, they are assuming to be a leader, walang follower eh. Oh. Whereas si Mayor Bayani Fernando, maraming sumusunod eh. Why? Yung kanyang leadership, yung kanyang charisma. Kaya maraming tigasunod sa kanya. Kaya dalawa yon. You may have the position, you may have the knowledge, the skills, pero yung follower mo hindi sumusunod, that's not leadership. Ang tawag doon, if a true leader, meron kang follower. Kung leader ka, palakad-lakad ka lang, wala kang follower. Kaya yan, congratulations. Tandaan nyo, ang sekreto na analysis ko kay Bayani Fernando is because of yung kanyang qualities and skill of leadership. Pangalawa pa, maybe he wanted to be true with his first name. The word is Bayani. Kaya hero ka, Mr. Fernando. Salamat po.
Thank you, GSM.
Salamat.
Truly, truly. Okay, BF. Okay, can we acknowledge Rodel Mangunay? Go ahead. Good afternoon.
Yes, Doc.
Good
Doc
afternoon.
Matt, kay SBB Jose Montoya, I just wish to seek up college offering tourism industry courses, since the most people that had enrollment is from the Middle East, and I worked there for 10 years, and from tourism and hotel industry, we had a lot of OFW who was practicing the industry at the same time, but they don't have formal education. So I wish to call the attention of SBP Jose Montoya to how I wish that a college can offer this thing. Yun lang po.
Okay, thank you so much. Again, as the direct the direct personnel of GSM this afternoon present here, we will act on that, right? GSM? Okay, we will address on that, Rodel. Thank you. BF is raising. Yeah, good up. Yes, go ahead, BF.
Ano ko lang, baka akala ng mga tao ako matapang, no? Hindi tapang yun sa ano. Actually, I have served as mayor for 9 years and 8 years with the MMDA. I did so many things na unusual things, no? Na sasabihin mo parang tapang o hindi. I just do things according to the law. According to law. And one thing, in all these years, wala akong napatay na tao, pinapatay na tao, at wala man lang akong pinakulong na tao. Wala. Yan ang aking, baka akala nyo political will is yung matapang ka, napapatay ka. Hindi. Nanaway lang ako ng tao. Nanaway lang ako ng tao. Sinasaway ko lang. Yan ang nagkukulang sa ating mga leadership. Yung manaway sa kanila, para bang mawawalan sila ng boto sa pananaway. Yan ang aking napansin. Minsan, ultimong pulis, hindi nananaway eh. Mga pulis. Dapat sila because they have the symbol of authority. They are manaway lang. Musunod ang tao. And of course, siyempre, you have to show them performance. Performance. And that's my good luck that I'm an engineer. Because in our situation, most of our problems, pag tinignan niyo, is technical in nature. That's why solutions are actually supposed to be technical. And I have a flair for those things those technical things that are needed by communities. So, na-i-apply ko yung aking technical know-how doon. But one thing, ulitin ko, hindi ako matapang. Wala akong napatay, wala akong pinapatay, wala akong pinakulong man lamang na tao, no? And ito ngayon ko lang masabi tayo ko. If I had served another 2 years more with the MMDA, ang Metro Manila sana nagbago. Kasi nakita ko na yung tipping point. At some point in time, yung MMDA has proven one thing, is determination. Napakita natin yun sa Metro Manila. I have so many occasions been, and I've seen, sayang, kaya lang talagang wala na. I ran out of time, 2 years more, and we would have experienced the same thing as we have experienced in Marikina. Yung proper application ng ano mo sa tao, yung political will na yon is translated into something that would bring about yung order. Again, so I uphold the yung ko pa rin, laws are solutions. I do not hear the lawyers saying it eh. Ang narinig kong maganda sa mga lawyers, they're saying the majesty of the law. But I've never heard any Filipino lawyer saying laws are solutions, but they are solutions. And I learned of this in my younger years, my younger days. Doon sa Manila Times nung araw, merong comic strip entitled There Ought to Be a Solution. There's this lady, this is an American comic strip sa Diario. There's this lady, so they discuss about problems in the community or whatever, and at the end, this lady would quip, "Oh, there ought to be a law." Yeah, ibig sabihin, "Oh, there ought to be a solution." That's why yung laws are solution, which is not in the mind of our people. Ang laws sa kanila parang against them. Laws are we have to get our people to understand, to accept that laws are solutions. Hindi biro-biro yan, yung mga laws natin. At yung mga kahit ano pa, minsan mali ang English, pero somehow, minsan makakamali na English. Kaya naguguluhan ang Department of Justice ng pag-i-interpret minsan ng law. But in essence, the spirit is there. The good intention is there, and we simply have to implement them. And implementing them, all these laws need political will. Dahil nga, in our state of our people, ang laws are against them. Yan ang ating, nakita ko ewan ko, bail me out if I'm wrong. yan ang understanding ko of the Filipino psyche. Yan ang Thank you.
Thank you so much, BF. Thank you. There is another one question here. What simple changes or improvements can we make to increase the value of output of our people? And then Jeffrey is grateful. Thank you for all the speakers for sharing your valuable and relevant insights in today's webinar. Okay. So I think this will be our last for this afternoon to end our discourse. The question is, what simple changes or improvements can we make to increase the value of output of our people or those in the organization? Okay, let me start with Prof. Randy. Good afternoon.
Sir, ako po ba?
Yes.
Okay. For me, analysis of the process and the optimization of resources. And the government has been trying to do this with the Citizens Charter and quality management integrated in the government's operation. So this requires untiring effort to precise on the problems unique in each organization and provide solution as customer would expect it within the limits of the rules and laws. That's it.
Thank you. Thank you, Attorney. GSM, good afternoon.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, good afternoon, GSM.
Yeah, okay, go ahead.
Yes,
Go ahead.
the question is, what simple changes or improvement can we make to increase the value of output of our people?
Alam mo, napakabigat, napakalaki, pero ang approach yan, pinag-aralan ko itong mga attitude na mga tao. Typical example, okay? Nag-a-attend ako ng workshop, management, Singapore. Nakita ko ang pag-uugali ng mga tao na kung may maglalakad papunta doon, hindi nagbubungguan para mga langgam. Papunta sila doon, meron din parang langgam papunta na dito. dito sa Manila, makikita mo, may titigil, may magkukwentuhan eh. Di ba? Kuminsan na maninigarilyo kang gano'n, nakita ako, pinikap yung kuhaan na sigarilyo. Sabi niya, I think you are a tourist. Okay? Don't smoke here. Okay? Anong pinag-uusapan doon? Ang pinag-uusapan, sumusunod sila sa patakaran o batas. Kagaya na sinasabi kanina ni Mayor, no? Sumusunod sa batas. Okay, ito na may example. Huwag naman magagalit yung kapwa ko Pilipino, no? Pagmamaneho, magpunta ka sa Clark, magpunta ka sa Subic, they are following strictly yung patakaran ng pagmamaneho doon. Okay? Paglabas, wala, bara-bara na. You know why? Because sa loob ng compound na yon at saka sa Clark na yon ay umiiral ang pag-implement ng batas eh. Umiiral, they have to follow. Dito hindi. O paano gagawin natin ngayon? The first thing that must be done is to discipline. A typical example, pinag-aralan ko in Singapore. Pagpasok ng Lee Kuan Yew, ang daming ethnic. May Chinese, may ganito, may Korean, may this and that. Sabi niya, magmula ngayon, walang magsasalita, ang i-develop natin na salita natin ay English, lingua franca. I don't care kung sinong Chinese, kung sinong Pakistani, kung sinong Amerikano, whatever, Philippine, ang salita dito English. O di ba nag-improve sila? Again, ano naman nangyari doon? Discipline at pagtupad sa patakaran na pinapairal. Hindi matigas ang ulo. Kaya kasasabi ko lang, kung minsan nakakalungkot yung sinabi ko, I don't know, siguro si Mayor Bayani, natatandaan siya pa niya eh. Yung kwento ko sa inyo, si Irving Berlin, na nag-imbento, noong 2018 ng God Bless the America. Kung natatala nyo, God bless America, the one I love. Okay? Ano ginawa sa atin? 1946. Dahil, i-institutionalize yung ating about the Filipino. Yung God bless the Filipino, hindi kinakanta. Heaven was the Philippines, hindi kinakanta. Mangyayari pa, ito yun. Huwag kayong magagalit. Magkakaroon ng pambansang awit, national anthem. Dati-dati, yung kapanahunan namin, tumitigil ang mga tao. Hanggat hindi natatapos ang bayang magiliw. Okay? Kung alas 6 at tumugtog ang misa alas 6 o kampana, lahat titigil. Ngayon nakikita mo ba tumitigil ang mga tao? They don't care eh. Okay? Anong kailangan doon? Discipline na naman. Magiging homogeneous characteristic ang mga taong Pilipino. Magkakaroon ng unification sa pag-iisip, sa paggawa. Yun ang dapat gawin doon. Number 1, discipline. Bakit kailangan may discipline? Para tuparin ang ating mga batas. Correct? Tama na po akong pagsagot ko dahil nagagalit na ako eh. Okay? Thank you.
Thank you so much, GSM. BF, good afternoon.
Yeah, good afternoon.
Yes, BF, the same question. What simple
Afternoon.
changes or improvements can we make to increase the value of output of the people?
Okay. It's the right work. We have to improve on our work ethics. We have people in government to address practically every problem we have. Buti magdadampot ng basura, nasa magdadampot ng basura, hanggang sa gagamot ng tenga mo. May trabahador ang gobyerno. Unfortunately, pati sa private sector, no? Our problem is our work ethics is not too good. It's not too good. That we have, and I have not heard any Filipino leader who says in government who talks about productivity, about work ethics. Okay? So that's one thing we have to. We will never get anywhere without a good work ethics. Parang ano na ngayon eh. Parang utang na loob pa ng employer ngayon pagka nagtrabaho, tao. Hindi nila iniisip na that is part or humanity makes you your social responsibility to work. Sabi nga ni St. Paul, gutom, yung ay magtrabaho. No less than St. Paul says that. So, ang ano ko ron is natin, tama natin ang isip ng ating mga tao. And I would ask, no less than President Marcos, our dear President, to start talking about productivity. That's what we lack so much. If only we can have the right productivity, it will actually get our people to strive to learn more. Yung mga kulangan natin, maanuhan natin. Wala eh. Wala tayo nung sense na gano'n. And I would say, lalahating ko na halos eh. Gano'n eh. And I think in this country, with these big problems that we have, sa nakita ko, I've worked with the President GMA noon. I've sat in the cabinet then government. Nakita ko ron eh. Para bang pag sinabi ng presidente, may nangyayari. Nangyayari. Yun na lang ating pag-asa. And it has to start from no less than our president. Wala eh. Walang
Ako nagsabi ng
parang biruan lahat ng bagay. Ba't nakita ko yung pagka sinabi ng presidente dun sa cabinet meeting, nangyayari. But unfortunately nga, wala kang nanig about productivity. Yung natin, lahat. So I'll tell you a little story. Dito sa Marikina, binago ko ang title ng sweeper. Sweeper. Because, ang dami sweeper. Pero marami pa rin yung kalye. Ginawa ko, hindi, cleaner. Akala kasi ng sweeper, ang trabaho niya, lahat lang nasasama ron sa walis. Pag ayaw sumama ron sa walis tinting, hindi niya trabaho yon. So nagkalat ang all others, puro ang lalaking mga basura, bato, kung ano sa bakal. Pero walang gumagalaw because no one is assigned to do that. Minsan mali ang ating appreciation or mali yung ating mga gano'n natin definitions natin. So when I change that, we only needed a few people to clean up the city. Hindi ganun. Halos lahat ng kalye meron sweeper. Kaya walang ginawa kundi maghapon yung pero hindi lumilinis yung kalye. I give them specific instruction. So kasama pa rin yan ng ating ng management. Is management of people. But ang problema nga sa tayo we have to remove that yung ating mindset ng ating tao. Ba't nagkaganon tayo? I've seen it. Yung in my younger days, the last of the nakita ko sa isang trabahador namin, yung kanyang sense ng yon, ng yung kanyang work ethics. Nawala yung work ethics na yun. Lalo na ngayon, di ko malaman kung ang nangyari sa atin. Ang sama. And we are expecting to improve our pay. Hindi mangyayari. People are paid by how much they produce, by their productivity. Ang sweldo ng Koreano, 20 to 30 times more sa sweldo ng Pilipino. Because yung Koreano, 20 to 30 times more productive than the Filipino. And we can consider that. If we want to improve our lives, we have to be as productive as them. Yan. Walang pinag-iwan sa mga magsasaka. Ang statistics ng Department of Agriculture natin, ang mga magsasaka natin only working 3.5 hours a day. Saka nakakita sa mundo, tatrawan 3.5 hours would have a good life. That we have to look at these things. And I've not heard anybody say about it. How much more of the government employees? How many hours yung binabayaran natin tigalinis, mga nagwawalis dyan, mga pinauwili pa natin, yung ating mga assistants natin ngayon. Nakatayo lang doon sa kantor, we're paying them minimum wage a day. In big groups. It sends a bad message, a bad on the minds of our people. Sisira. We have to consider those things. Productivity. We have to yung economy, our lives is measured by how productive we are. Well, anyway, thank you very much again. for inviting me. Sana hindi ko naguluhan ng isip ninyo ng ganun. Ha? But kung ako yung mali ang aking nasabi, ano man sinabi ko, pakisabi nyo lang sa akin. Kasi aking magdadaldal ng formal, baka maligaw mga Pilipino.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, VF. So with that, we shall close our open conversation. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for the answers, additional information regarding the topics at hand. Maraming salamat po sa lahat. And I think the person to give us the synthesis and takeaways, I think there is a problem in the area of Makati, no? Heavy rain. So let me wrap up our activity this afternoon. I think one lesson that is very important in the loop or spectrum of management, nandun na yung sinabi ni GSM na POLCAP, planning, organizing, leading, controlling, ano pa yung isa, assessing, and yung CAP, no? The 5 no stages or cycle ng management. There is always the very important ingredient, no, which is the right feedback. I think the 3 gentlemen mentioned that in their specific discussions. No? So feedback is important. Not only feedback, but the right feedback. Now, we were challenged by the presentation of some problems, issues, no, at hand in managing organizations. So there were mentions about poverty, market accessibility on education, disorder, red tape or complexity in bureaucracy. So those are the challenges that we are facing right now. But looking at the IPO of our gentleman speaker, GSM, so how do we process that? No? So we create an atmosphere that will democratize education. There is an offering on the process of a strong political will. And the second speaker talk about technological innovations, which is very important nowadays, no, in bureaucracy. And we do not simply look at it, no, as a process, but there has to be an organizational culture that has to be created where laws are very important. No? As BF mentioned, no? Laws are solutions. And GSM would agree, no? Sabi niya kanina, that in managing organization, it is important that there is UA. There is understanding and acceptance. And if all of this, no, will lead to a culture organization where there is the system of inclusiveness, inclusivity, especially those who are not able to access education, no, in a traditional or in a manner that financial space are constrained. No? So I think that's a good venue for including those who cannot, no, in a traditional setting of education. And I think the strong word this afternoon is about autonomy, where everyone is challenged that to do right is a moral obligation. Work ethics. So with that, we thank you all, those who are participating the activity this afternoon. Maraming salamat po, no, na tayo ay nandito ngayon lahat. And to give us our closing remarks, may I call on Dr. Joanna Rose B. Rosales, the chair of the PCU TINEP Graduate Studies. Good afternoon.
Thank you, Dr. Matt. Good afternoon, everyone. A pleasant afternoon to all. So on behalf of Philippine Christian University, Transnational Education and Extension Program, the Graduate School of Business and Management, through the MM Collab, I would like to take this opportunity to thank everyone who made this webinar series on management and education possible and successful. I would like to thank and commend our 3 distinguished resource speakers, for this afternoon. Thank you for your very insightful presentation, mga sir. Thank you, Sir SEVP Jose S. Montoya, sir. Thank you, Usec Attorney Randy Escolango. And thank you, Honorable Engineer Bayani B.F. Fernando. I would like also to thank all the students who actively participated in this webinar. So every learner matters and matters equally. So congratulations to all, Doc Matt, and to all the adjunct faculty of MM Collab. I can see Dr. J. Sario, Dr. Santos, and Dr. Batin. Di ko na po makita yung iba pa. Thank you to all the students. Thank you everyone for attending. I have attended the whole series. I'm truly blessed and very interesting yung topics na didiscuss ng tatlong speakers po natin. Mga sir, thank you very much po. The Lord bless and guide us always. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Joanne, for being with us this afternoon. Thank you.
Thank you, Sir Matt.
Okay. So all our students, participants will have a certificate of attendance for this webinar series. So there's an equivalency of training, no, for hours for your participation. So with this, we would like to thank each and everyone for gracing, for attending actively in this webinar. As mentioned in our introduction, we have continuously initiating avenues, no, for us to be together in a discourse with people in the field, specialized in their profession, to give us insights. And this afternoon is but no less than our experts here. So maraming salamat po. At this time, I would like to invite everyone to share their screen video so I can take the photo opportunity. Yan, maraming salamat po. Meron po tayong 5 slides, no, sa ating attendance. So paki-smile lang po ng mga 10 seconds. Okay. 1, 2, 3. Next slide.
Saudi Arabia has shared the details with the United States.
Another slide. Maraming salamat po. Another slide. Muli po, maraming salamat sa inyong lahat. Meron po tayong certificate, no, para sa lahat. And thank you. Usec, thank you. GSM, thank you. BF, thank you. Good night, everyone. Maraming salamat po.
Good night, Doc. Good night, everyone.
And to the adjunct
Thank you very much.
thank you po. Maraming salamat po.
Thank you.
Thank you.